Chapter 041 Lin Village Man Shen. In the 8th month, you once again encountered a powerful old demon. Just when you thought a fierce battle was about to begin, an incredible scene occurred. The old demon was tripped by the vine that appeared out of nowhere again. Lin Hao seized the opportunity and killed him easily. In the 9th month, you encountered a rare old demon in the nascent soul stage. The fierce demonic energy swept over, shocking the soul. In order to protect yourself, you turn around and run away. However, just when you were about to escape, the old Yuanying stage monster was also strangely tripped by the vine. Lin Hao stepped forward and killed this old demon in the nascent soul stage, but this time he didn't let you roast him, but put him in his storage bag. The coincidences one after another make you completely understand that Lin Hao must be hiding a huge secret. And the mysterious cane makes you more certain that he is your cousin. But why did Lin Hao appear in the territory of the ghost spirit sect? And why would he appear as a demon cultivator? It all seems like a huge mystery that leaves you puzzled. You secretly thanked yourself for using a pseudonym, otherwise you would have died by now. Although with your current peak Jindan cultivation, it would be easy for you to kill Lin Hao who is in the foundation building stage. But the mysterious vine makes you feel terrified. You understand that the power hidden behind the vine is far beyond your imagination. Acting rashly is like hitting a rock with an egg. You decide to continue hiding your identity and secretly observe Lin Hao, because until now, he still doesn't know your true identity. In the 12th month, you once again encountered an old demon in the nascent soul stage, and were tripped by a vine and lost the ability to resist. Lin Hao easily killed it and took it into his pocket. You increasingly feel that he might be collecting monster corpses, but you don't know what to do with them. As you go deeper into the central area of the secret realm, the monsters you encounter will become stronger and stronger, with the lowest being at the golden core stage. However, the mysterious vine still works time and time again, always helping you turn danger into safety. At the critical moment, what is even more shocking to you is that you found disciples of the ghost spirit sect in the central area. They actually coexist peacefully with the monsters in the secret realm. Like a shepherd and his sheep, living in peace with each other. These disciples seem to be guarding something, and they showed no mercy to you who broke in, and immediately launched an attack. In the first year and 1 month, after you killed a nascent soul stage ghost spirit sect disciple, the entire secret realm suddenly emitted a deafening roar, and the earth also shook violently. You feel a chill in your heart, realizing that some terrifying existence is about to appear. Lin Hao also noticed the change and immediately told you to run away. As you run for your life, you look back and see a dark cloud that covered the sky and the sun was sweeping in at an alarming speed. That suffocating pressure was something that only a cultivator at the spiritualization stage could possess. And this breath does not come from monsters, but from the ghost spirit sect. You are horrified. You didn't expect that the ghost spirit sect would actually send a powerful person in the spiritualization stage to guard the secret realm. This makes you more curious about the secret realm, and more vigilant. Just when that old monster in the god transformation stage was about to catch up with you, a green vine fell from the sky like lightning and hit the old monster fiercely. The old monster screamed, and his huge body fell heavily to the ground. You seized this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and tried your best to escape from the secret realm. Outside the secret realm, a large number of ghost spirit sect disciples have already gathered and are ready for battle. From their conversation, you learned that the ghost spirit sect has already noticed someone active in the secret realm. In order to prevent the plan from being disrupted, I sent disciples to guard here. The ghost spirit sect attaches so much importance to this secret realm that you become alert instantly. Perhaps, this secret realm is the key to the rise of the ghost spirit sect. There is an old monster in the nascent soul stage outside this secret realm, The central area is not only closely guarded by ghost spirit sect disciples, but also guarded by a powerful spiritual transformation stage master. Escape from the secret realm, and what awaits you is the heavy encirclement of the ghost spirit sects. Disciples. Less than half a year has passed since the ghost spirit sect launched a massive invasion of the immortal sect. What exactly is hidden in this secret realm? You are puzzled, but you have no chance to find out. Faced with the siege of the ghost spirit sect disciples, the terrifying vine once again showed its power. It instantly tears apart the space, and you and Lin Hao escape into it together. When you appear again, you have arrived at an ancient village. At the entrance of the village, a charred dead tree is particularly eye-catching. There are a few vines growing sparsely on the dead wood, dotted with green buds, indicating the vitality of life. In sharp contrast, the dead tree itself looks as if it had been burned by a raging fire, with no signs of life. However, the vines grew out of this dead tree. Lin Hao walked respectfully to the vine and worshipped it devoutly. Then he took out the corpse of an old demon in the nascent soul stage from the storage bag and placed it at the root of the vine. I saw several branches on the vine dancing like living things and quickly piercing into the old demon's body. After a while, the old demon's body shriveled up, and the green color of the vines became even richer. You stood aside, witnessing this bizarre scene with your own eyes, and were so shocked that you were speechless. Lin Hao respectfully bowed to Teng Man, then turned around and enthusiastically introduced you to Teng Man. From him, you learned that the vine is called Mansion, and is the patron saint of Lin village. In order to prevent this mysterious god from seeing your true relationship with Lin Hao, you also carefully worshipped the god of man. After the worship, you followed Lin Hao into Lin village. Lin Hao tells you that Lin village is the ancestral home of their Lin family. He couldn't tell how many years it had existed, but he knew that he had lived here since he could remember. However, Lin Hao added that according to the clan leader, he was not born and raised in Lam Tsuan, but came from outside. When he came to Lin village on the verge of death, it was Mansion who saved him. You noticed that when Lin Hao said this, his eyes were full of hatred. You pretend to be concerned and ask him what he had experienced and why he was dying. Lin Hao suddenly laughed, and he gave you a meaningful look. Don't pretend anymore, he has seen through your identity. You are startled and subconsciously want to turn around and run away. Lin Hao added that he could tell at first sight that you were not a demon cultivator, but a serious immortal cultivator. You finally breathed a sigh of relief. It turns out that he didn't realize that you are his cousin. Chapter 042 Another Simulated Disagreement. You removed your hidden aura, revealing your peak Jindan cultivation. Lin Hao saw this and gladly removed his disguise, revealing the aura of an immortal cultivator. You secretly marvel at his ability to hide. If you hadn't known his identity long ago, you would probably still have mistaken him for a disciple of the demon sect. Lin Hao admits that he is also a cultivator, so you don't have to worry. Then, he slowly told his past. He grew up in a loving family. He has loving parents, grandparents who love him, and a huge family. However, the peaceful life was broken by a sudden change. His aunt used vicious means to take away his spiritual roots and transplanted them to his cousin who had mediocre talent. Afterwards, his parents sent him here for recuperation, but he unexpectedly met the Mansion here. After listening to his story, you have a clearer understanding of the whole story. But my curiosity about Mansion grew stronger. You quietly inquire about Mansion's origins and identity. Lin Hao said that he also didn't know the origin of Mansion, it was like a mystery. According to the old people in the village, the Mansion appeared on a night of thunder and rain. The next morning, a charred wooden stake suddenly appeared at the entrance of the village. And soon after his parents sent him here, Mansion began to come alive. In Lin Hao's heart, Mansion is like his reborn parents. In order to repay Mansion for saving his Lefet, he hunted everywhere, using the blood of his prey to nourish the creeping god and help it recover its vitality. In the second year, you settled down in Lamtsuan and integrated into this peaceful and harmonious life. Through communication with villagers and reading the village classics, you have confirmed that the Longdi Lin family indeed originated from here, and Lin village is the ancestral home of your entire family. In the third year, you have been completely accepted by Lamtsuan and become one of them. During the day, you hunt with the villagers, and use the blood of the prey to worship the god of the vine, maintaining the peace and prosperity of the village. In the evening, everyone sat around the blazing bonfire, eating meat and chatting happily, and the days were carefree and comfortable. You get along well with the villagers, like a family. The only secret is that you have never revealed your true identity to Lin Hao. Lin village is located in a wild place, with monsters and beasts everywhere. Although the villagers here have no way to cultivate immortality, but he found another way and created a unique way of body training. They hunted monsters, bathed in their blood, and collected various spiritual herbs to make medicinal baths. Combined with the ancient body refining technique and breathing method, tempered under waterfalls and in extreme environments, forge the body to be as indestructible as a magical weapon. In the fourth year, a conflict broke out between Lamtsuan and another neighboring village. The other village has several physical training masters whose strength is comparable to that of Jindan stage cultivators. But with the help of the mysterious power of Mansion, Lincoln finally won the victory and protected the peace of his homeland. In the fifth year, Lin Hao's spiritual roots were fully restored, and his cultivation level also broke through to the Jindan stage. Over the years, you have verified the Mengnu body refining technique with Lincoln's body refining technique. Take advantage of its strengths and make improvements to make this set of body refining techniques more perfect. You have also practiced diligently, and your physical training has reached the middle stage of the Jindan stage. At the same time, your cultivation at the peak of the Jindan stage has also improved, and your strength has reached a new level. In the 8th year, under your leadership, Lincoln has become famous and its sphere of influence has continued to expand. Every morning, the sun rises. Under your guidance, the children in the village practiced the physical skills meticulously. The young face is full of seriousness and determination. You taught me the improved wild bull body refining technique and regarded Lin village as your real home. In the 10th year, Lin Hao proposed to leave the wild land and venture into a wider world, and invited you to go with him. During your 10 years of hunting, you have already shared life and death together and forged a deep brotherhood. You almost forget that there was ever a rift between you. Without much hesitation, you accepted his invitation. In the 11th year, you bid farewell to the god of man, bid farewell to the land that nurtured you, and embarked on a new journey. The wind in Longdi carries the familiar smell of soil, making you feel at ease. However, when you return to the Lin clan, you find that the clan is under attack by the ghost spirit sect, and is in danger. The Lin family is just a small family of immortal cultivators. The strongest ancestor of the Lin family is only at the foundation building stage, and his lifespan is about to end. You still hide your identity, fight side by side with Lin Hao, gather your tribesmen, and fight against foreign enemies together. In the 12th year, you will gather the scattered members of the Lin tribe in Longdi and unite them into one force. Lin Hao launched a fierce offensive against the demonic forces in Longdi, defeating them one by one. And you, fully utilizing your alchemy skills, refine various elixirs that can improve your realm, heal wounds and detoxify. The continuous supply to the tribe members has rapidly increased the overall strength of the Lin tribe. You personally attacked from time to time to rescue the tribe members who were besieged by the demon cultivators, further consolidating the power of the Lin tribe. In the 13th year, all of Longdi is in your hands. Your physical cultivation realm has also reached a higher level, reaching the late stage of Jindan, and your magic cultivation realm has even broken through to the Yuanying stage. Ding! Do you choose to become a nascent soul cultivator? Whether. What's going on? Lin Yi frowned. There should be no problem in achieving the nascent soul stage this time. After all, it's a matter of course. But why do options appear again? Is it necessary to synchronize the Dharma body? Or is there something else going on? At this moment Lin Yi really couldn't understand. However, he knew that if he refused, there would be one more option. Then let's see what the result is. Thinking of this, he chose no. You refuse to achieve the ordinary nascent soul realm. After the simulation is over, you can get one option by paying spirit stones. In the 14th year, you are at the critical juncture of breaking through the nascent soul stage. But suddenly, he felt something in his heart, as if he felt that if he achieved the nascent soul stage, he would miss a great opportunity. You made a prompt decision to end your retreat and decided to travel outside before making a breakthrough. You bid farewell to Lin Hao, saying that your cultivation had reached a bottleneck and you needed to go out and look for opportunities. Although Lin Hao was reluctant to let you go, he also understood your pursuit of power and personally sent you away from Longdi. In the 15th year, you headed eastward, flew across the vast ocean on your sword, and arrived at an unfamiliar sea area. After several months of exploration, you found a hidden cave. After exploring, you discovered that this is the inheritance cave of a sword cultivator in the spiritualization stage. Chapter 043, One Sword Frost's 19 Islands. In the 16th year, after a year of concentrated contemplation, you finally obtained the inheritance of sword cultivation, 3 extremely sharp sword auras, and a profound sword art. 10,000 swords return to the origin. You sit cross-legged and begin to practice in seclusion, preparing to master this powerful inheritance. Time flies, and several years have passed in a flash. In the 18th year, the spiritual power in your body gradually changed, becoming extremely sharp, like countless tiny sword blades flowing through the meridians. In the 20th year, your body refining realm has also reached a higher level, reaching the peak of the Jindan stage. In the 30th year, you finally comprehended the inheritance of the divine sword cultivator and compressed and condensed the golden elixir into a pure sword energy. In the 40th year, a crystal-clear little sword slowly condenses and takes shape in your danshan. At the same time, your temperament has also undergone earth-shaking changes. The whole person is sharp, like a peerless sword about to be unsheathed. With a thought, you turned into a stream of light, soaring into the sky, and left this secret cave. In the 41st year, the ghost spirit sect has extended its evil claws overseas. Even if you are far away from the ghost spirit sect's sphere of influence, you will still be harassed by its demonic cultivators. These demonic cultivators wantonly kill, plunder resources, and harm living beings. You originally wanted to go look for Lin Hao, but you were moved by the innocent monks who were slaughtered, so you stepped forward and fought a desperate battle with the demon disciples. In the 45th year, a sword whistle resounded across 100 miles, and you struck with thunder, instantly killing an old demon in the nascent soul stage. Your reputation has spread far and wide, and all overseas cultivators admire you and regard you as a role model. In the 48th year, you hunted down the demons everywhere, and countless souls died under your sword. The name Sword Immortal gradually spread throughout the overseas cultivation world. The sword flashed, and another old demon in the nascent soul stage died. In the 50th year, your fame has spread far and wide, and everyone overseas knows you. When young monks see you, they all respectfully address you as ancestor. In the 53rd year, you raised your arms and united with the overseas cultivators to launch a massive counterattack against the demonic cultivators. Sword energy is everywhere, thunder sounds are rolling, and the light of a sword chills the 19 islands. Several Yuanying old monsters overseas are shocked and support you as the leader. In the 60th year, under your strong suppression, the overseas demon cultivators gradually declined and disappeared. In the 62nd year, the ghost spirit sect became increasingly fierce and powerful. Many immortal cultivators fled overseas in search of a way to survive. In the 68th year, in order to escape the clutches of the ghost spirit sect, more and more monks come here to seek your protection. For a time, the 19 overseas islands were overcrowded. Conflicts and contradictions between local monks and foreign monks continued, and frictions intensified. You know that internal strife is worse than foreign invasion. So he acted decisively, suppressed the dispute with lightning speed, and took control of the situation. At the same time, you should use reason and emotion to persuade both sides to put aside their prejudices, unite against the outside world, and jointly resist the invasion of the demon cultivators. Thanks to your efforts, overseas monks and foreign monks finally work together. Begin to eliminate those demonic forces that attempt to infiltrate overseas. In the 74th year, although you are invincible. However, the conflict between local monks and foreign monks eventually broke out due to the issue of resource allocation. There are powerful enemies outside and constant disputes inside. You realize the seriousness of the problem and take decisive action. With the force of thunder, several troublemakers who had provoked the incident were killed, killing the chicken to scare the monkeys and deter the scoundrels. At the same time, you began to disband and reorganize the monks from the 19 overseas islands and foreign monks. Every 11 people form a team. Regardless of their origins, they only look at their strength. They kill the devils they see, in order to eliminate barriers and gather strength. In the 80th year, shocking news came. Tianxiandao Palace, this immortal sect with a long tradition, was actually destroyed by the ghost spirit sect. The Four Seas Immortal Alliance also completely tore off its disguise and openly admitted that it was just a subordinate force of the ghost spirit sect. Various sects of the demonic path, such as the Five Poison sect, the Joyous Alliance sect, the Demon Flame sect, etc., also chose to submit to the ghost spirit sect and follow its lead. The power of the ghost spirit sect is growing rapidly, and more immortal sects are being killed. The cultivation world is in a bloody storm. In the 90th year, Danta, the holy place of the alchemy world, was not spared and was finally breached by the ghost spirit sect and completely destroyed. Countless sects and monks, with nowhere else to go, fled overseas to seek the last refuge. You open your heart and accept everyone who comes. And formed an alliance with overseas monks to fight against the expansion of the ghost spirit sect and defend this last piece of pure land to the death. In the 95th year, as more and more monks fled, the resources of the 19 overseas islands were finally overwhelmed. The conflict between local monks and foreign monks intensified again, and the conflict was imminent. You once again suppressed the fight between the two sides with thunderous means. We should use reason and emotion to persuade both sides to put aside their prejudices and jointly resist the foreign enemy. Many monks from the 19 overseas islands are very dissatisfied with your practice of accepting everyone who comes. But I am intimidated by your strength, so I dare not speak out. You don't care about this because you know that the end of the ghost spirit sect is coming. In the 99th year, the expansion of the ghost spirit sect was finally blocked. It is rumored that when the ghost spirit sect's ancestor attacked the Bushan League, he was blocked by a mysterious vine. The two sides fought a fierce battle, and the ghost spirit sect's ancestor was seriously injured. This news gave the immortal monks, who had been oppressed and hunted by the ghost spirit sect for 100 years, a glimmer of hope for victory. 1 month later, Lin Hao, the leader of the Bulletin Tian League, broke through to the realm of transformation and began to lead the Bulletin Tian League to launch a counterattack. You then led an alliance of monks from 19 overseas islands and foreign monks to join the army to attack the Ghost Spirits sect. Many monks who originally fled overseas also chose to join your camp and attack the Ghost Spirit sect. In the 100th year, Xiao Han also successfully broke through the spiritualization stage, integrated the power of the entire Triangle region, and led his men to launch a war against the Ghost Spirit sect. For a time, the Ghost Spirit sect was attacked from all sides and the situation was precarious. In the 100th year, the once invincible disciples of the Ghost Spirit sect. Now, under the siege of the three forces, the army is completely defeated and has no power to resist. In the end, the Ghost Spirit sect's ancestor disappeared due to the joint efforts of Lin Hao and Xiao Han. The Ghost Spirit sect was completely destroyed, and the century-long catastrophe in the cultivation world came to an end. The various sects of the immortal Dao began to rebuild, and the scene was thriving. After the war, you saw your long-lost cousin Lin Hao in the crowd. I haven't seen him for 80 or 90 years. He has grown from the young boy he was back then. He has grown into the powerful incarnation master he is today, and his majesty is fully displayed in every gesture. When we meet again, Lin Hao looks at you with complicated eyes. There is closeness, alienation, and a hint of resentment that you can hardly understand. Chapter 44, Thousands of enemies are in front of me, and I can defeat them with one sword. You are confused, but you don't show it. You go up to him and talk to him as usual. However, now he is a divine transformation cultivator, and every move he makes carries a strong pressure, which makes you feel a little uncomfortable. You try to keep a relaxed tone, as if nothing has changed. But you know in your heart that there is an insurmountable gap between you. In the 102nd year, Xiao Han and Dan Zun discovered your existence. Venerable Dan accused you of killing your master and stealing his treasure, saying that you used a strange poison to poison him. In the 103rd year, Xiao Han and Dan Zun headed towards the 19 islands overseas. You were surprised to see that Dan Zun had recondensed his body. There is no way to avoid it, only fight to the death. Venerable Dan looks at you now, his eyes full of disdain and ridicule. I didn't expect a loser like you would go this far. Kneel down and kowtow to admit your mistake, maybe I can spare your life. From now on, you can be Xiao Han's thug and watchdog, which is also a way to live in this world. You sneered, the long sword in your hand clanged, the power of the sword infant surged, and a dignified sword intent rose into the sky. Even if there are thousands of enemies in front of me, I can defeat them all with one sword. After saying that, you attacked brazenly, your sword flashing like a rainbow, and you went straight for the Dan Zun. Although Dan Zun recondensed his body, his cultivation fell to the middle stage of Yuanying. Although you are in the early stage of Sword Infant, your combat power far exceeds that of your peers. For a while, Dan Zun was suppressed by you and was beaten passively everywhere. Xiao Han saw this and wanted to help, but Lin Hao suddenly arrived and stopped him. Lin Hao gave you a deep look and said in a cold tone, "His life is mine." Xiao Han sneered, "If you want to kill him, you have to get past me first." The two of them immediately started a fierce battle, shaking the earth. In the 104th year, Dan Zun was severely injured by you and fled in a panic. You pursued him and vowed to kill him once and for all, but were stopped by 10 Yuanying old monsters. From Dan Valley, a war breaks out again. In the 105th year, Xiao Han and Lin Hao fought for 2 years, and finally stopped without a clear winner. The two seemed to have reached some kind of agreement and stopped fighting. You were seriously injured, but you still fought to the death. 3 Yuanying cultivators from Dan Valley died under your desperate fighting style. You are covered in blood, looking like a madman. The sword in your hand is already broken, but it still exudes a sharp sword intent. At this moment, a Dangwu divine master finally made a move, and the terrifying pressure instantly enveloped you. You understand that you may not be able to escape death today. At the critical moment of life and death, a trace of determination flashed in your eyes. It stimulated the three sword energies in Danshan that were inherited from the sword cultivators who transformed into spirits. It transformed into three brilliant sword lights, piercing through the void, instantly killing the Dan Valley. God transforming mighty. However, the counterattack of the great god before his death also destroyed your sword infant. Your Danshan is shattered, your meridians are cut off, your cultivation is completely lost, and you have become a useless person. The remaining Yuanying stage monks in Dan Valley were shocked and frightened when they saw your miserable state, but they did not dare to kill you again. Perhaps they are afraid that you still have some hidden tricks, or perhaps they think that you are no longer a concern. Xiao Han looked at you deeply, and finally left with the people from Dan Valley. Lin Hao looked at your miserable appearance with complicated eyes. Finally, he sighed, turned around and left, leaving you with only a bleak back. Lose the sword infant, lifespan is greatly reduced. You are already 100 years old, but your hair turns white overnight and you look extremely old. Even when walking, he was trembling, like a candle in the wind. Although you are old and frail, your powerful foundation from the physical training realm is still there, so you did not die immediately. You dragged your broken body away from this land of conflict and began your aimless journey. In the 180th year, you traveled all over the mountains and rivers of the cultivation world. Having witnessed countless customs and human sentiments, I have also become indifferent to past grudges and hatreds. You are no longer the powerful swordsman, but an old mortal. In the 200th year, you plan to find a successor to pass on what you have learned. Especially the bull body refining technique that you improved, and the sword cultivation inheritance. The sword cultivation inheritance is your life's work, you don't want it to be buried. In the 230th year, after decades of searching, you found an 8-year-old female beggar named Yin. Yin. Although she has no spiritual roots, she is born with a sword body. These two extreme physiques will surprise you. Because in your opinion, as long as one has a good physique, one will definitely have spiritual roots. Because physical constitution is superior to spiritual roots. In the 231st year, you took her with you and taught her the way of the sword. However, he discovered that although Yunyan was born with a sword body, she was unable to draw the energy into her body. Still unable to embark on the path of cultivation. You did not give up, and continued to teach her the basics of swordsmanship every day, hoping that she would be able to make a breakthrough. In the 238th year, Yunyan still looked like an 8-year-old, not having grown up at all, and had made no progress in her cultivation. You begin to wonder if you made a wrong judgment. Perhaps she is not born with a sword body, or perhaps she is missing some key opportunity. You took Yunyan to visit famous doctors to find a solution, but found nothing. In the 280th year, you took Yunyan to travel all over the famous mountains and rivers, and visited many great masters and hermits. Still haven't found a way for Yunyan to practice. You no longer insist on having her become a swordsman, but teach her to read and write, learn the arts of music, chess, calligraphy, and painting, and enjoy the life of an ordinary person. Yunyan is very dependent on you and is inseparable from you. You treat her as your own daughter and take good care of her. In the 310th year, Yunyan is well behaved and sensible, proficient in music, chess, calligraphy and painting, but still maintains the appearance of an 8-year-old. You realize that Yunyan is not a normal child. Perhaps it is some special physical condition that prevents her from practicing and growing up. You start traveling around with Yin Yin, looking for a solution. In the 330th year, you began to recruit disciples and pass on what you learned. Founded a sect called Chongsheng Valley. In the 450th year, Chongsheng Valley gradually grew larger, with many disciples and talented people emerging. You have become the ancestor of Chongsheng Valley, highly respected and admired. In the 620th year, an old monster in the nascent soul stage appeared in Chongsheng Valley. This is a huge breakthrough for Chongsheng Valley, and it also means that your heritage has been continued. You feel relieved and decide to put everything aside and travel around the world with Yunyin. In the 650th year, you and Yunyin were sailing on the East China Sea. Suddenly, I saw a raging flame in the sky, dyeing half of the sky red. Chapter 045 After Ascension. You see a familiar figure standing in the flames, like a god descending from heaven. It is your old friend Xiao Han. Lightning flashed and thunder roared, the wind and clouds changed color, and the power of thunder turned into a huge hammer, bombarding Xiao Han. A few months later, the thunder gradually subsided, the wind and clouds dissipated. Xiao Han's figure also disappeared, leaving behind only a pill furnace emitting precious light. You recognized it at a glance. It was the alchemy furnace of the alchemist. It's just that it's of a higher grade now, and it's obviously been re-refined by Xiao Han. You suddenly decided to go to the place where the incident happened to find out what happened. In the 651st year, you settled Yunyan down and finally arrived at the scene of the incident. The originally huge island has been split into pieces by thunder, and you found the alchemy furnace at the bottom of the sea. Just as you were carefully feeling the thunder on the alchemy furnace, the alchemy master suddenly appeared here. You see, he has now reached the peak of the nascent soul stage again. The alchemy master asks you to put down the alchemy furnace in your hand and hand over the ascension pill in the furnace. You were stunned for a moment, then looked towards the alchemy furnace. Only then did he discover that there was indeed a pill emitting golden light at the bottom of the furnace. Since I have already obtained this elixir, it is mine. Why should I give it to you? You said this calmly, not feeling the slightest bit intimidated by the pressure from the Dan master. Dan Zun was furious when he heard this and said sternly, "You are just a useless person who is barely alive, yet you dare to disobey my order. Hand over the alchemy furnace and elixir immediately, or I will destroy you both physically and spiritually." You look at the furious Dan Zun and suddenly burst into laughter. Dan Zun, if you want to make a move today, just come at me. I, Lin Yi, have nothing to fear. Venerable Dan is furious and attacks you immediately. You are now in your twilight years, and your lifespan is almost over. How can you be a match for the Dan Zun? Seeing that you are about to die, you grit your teeth and swallow the ascension pill. Seeing this, Dan Zun flew into a rage and fell into a state of madness. You look at the crazy Dan Zun, and a feeling of exhilaration rises in your heart. Hundreds of years of repression and resentment were released at this moment. After swallowing the ascension pill, your surroundings within 1,000 miles are suddenly enveloped by lightning. Dan Zun was afraid of thunder, so he had to retreat outside of it and look at you with angry eyes. You look up at the sky, it is covered with dark clouds, lightning and thunder, and a strong suction force pulls you upwards. You took one last look at Dan Zun. There was no fear in your eyes, only endless freedom and relief. Your body gradually rises, and is eventually enveloped by thunder. Only Dan Zun was left standing outside the thunder, roaring to the sky, but he could do nothing. In the 652nd year, you were enveloped in lightning for a whole year. These thunderbolts did not harm you, but enveloped you, like a lightning protection net. A huge hole suddenly appeared in the sky, and a colorful light appeared, dragging you towards the hole in the sky. In a daze, you find that your own realm is not enough to support your ascension. You are torn apart by powerful energy, and you die. Simulation ends. Start calculating this reward. You have raised your cultivation to the sword infant realm in this simulation. You can get 2 of them in the following rewards. 1. The initial stage of sword infant cultivation. 2. An alchemy furnace. 3. This simulation experience. 4th, a pill of ascension. 5. The 3 sword energies of the divine sword immortal. 6th, 10,000 swords technique. Number of simulations remaining, 0. Lin Yi looked at the ending simulation panel. He stood there in a daze, unable to come back to his senses for a long time. What kind of medicine is that? Ascension pill? Ascension. Lin Yi frowned. Did he ascend just now? I am only in the nascent soul stage. Moreover, he is in the nascent soul stage, supported by his physical body after his danshan was destroyed. Can you actually ascend? This is simply a fantasy. No wonder it was torn apart by the ascending energy. This simulation was full of twists and turns. He was originally gathering his nascent soul, but was interrupted by a sudden reminder. Then he went overseas to condense the sword baby. What is a sword baby? He had never heard of it before. But judging by its performance in the simulation, it shouldn't be bad. Thinking of this, Lin Yi said slowly. Help me choose one, the initial stage of sword infant cultivation. As soon as he finished speaking, a powerful energy emerged out of nowhere and then gathered in his danshan. The originally docile aura suddenly became overbearing and sharp. Gradually, the golden elixir in the danshan melted and turned into a small sword shining with golden light. Yes, others should have condensed their nascent soul at this step, but he condensed it into a small sword. Feeling the powerful and sharp energy in my body, Lin Yi seemed to have turned into a sharp sword, showing his edge. Is this the early stage of sword infant? Lin Yi murmured, his eyes shining with excitement. A powerful force surged in his body, sharp and intimidating. Ha ha ha! He couldn't help laughing. The laughter was filled with a refreshing sense of joy. He turned his head and looked at the hourglass beside him. I felt the passage of time outside again. I found that 2 days had passed since I entered the Yunmen secret realm. In other words, in just 5 days. He jumped from a useless person at the 3rd level of Qi refining to a powerful person at the nascent soul stage. Achieve nascent soul in 5 days. This speed is simply unheard of. Ha ha ha! Lin Yi laughed out loud again, and this time, there was more emotion and excitement in his laughter. Cool! He clenched his fists, feeling the surging power in his body, his heart filled with lofty ambitions. This is just the beginning, and there is still a long way to go. After choosing the initial stage of sword infant cultivation, Lin Yi's eyes fell on the remaining options, and his brows furrowed. Alchemy furnace, ascension pill, simulated experience, the sword energy of the divine sword immortal. 10,000 swords technique. Each one made it difficult for him to decide. First is the alchemy furnace. The alchemy furnace mentioned in the simulator was obviously different from the alchemy furnace of the alchemist in his hand. It was transformed by Xiao Han and others and is of a higher grade. But the higher the grade, the more difficult it is to refine. Even though he is already in the nascent soul stage, refining it will still take a lot of time. Instead of choosing a new alchemy furnace, it is better to thoroughly refine the alchemy furnace of the alchemy master. With his current strength, it is possible to completely erase the original imprint of spiritual consciousness in the alchemy furnace, and take it as one's own. A ascension pill. Lin Yi's eyes fell on the 4th option, his heart full of doubts and curiosity. This ascension pill is definitely not simple. This can be seen from the solemn attitude of Venerable Dan in the simulation. What concerned him more was whether Xiao Han succeeded in ascending. If he ascended, where did he go? If not, where did he go? All kinds of questions lingered in Lin Yi's mind. Chapter 046. From now on, the offense and defense have changed. But this time, he was forced by Dan Zun. I had no choice but to swallow the ascension pill. Pushing oneself into a dead end. The situation has not been investigated clearly. But it was also because of this that he understood the importance of this ascension pill. It could actually force a useless person at the nascent soul stage to ascend to heaven. Although it failed in the end. But this thing shows that it works. But this thing doesn't seem to have any effect on him. At least it is impossible to ascend to the nascent soul stage. Think of this. He looked at the 3 divine sword energies below and was deep in thought. Compared to the others, this thing can at least save your life, right? Help me choose 5 or 3 sword energies from the divine sword immortals. Lin Yi made a decisive choice. Rather than choosing the ascension pill, which is not needed now, it is better to choose the sword energy of the spirit transformation, which can actually improve your combat power. 3 dazzling sword auras appeared out of nowhere. Surrounding Lin Yi, it exudes a heart-pounding edge. They are like 3 swimming dragons, emitting bursts of clear sword sounds. It seemed as if it was cheering and welcoming its new owner. Lin Yi could feel the terrifying power contained in these 3 sword auras. That is the essence of the lifelong cultivation of the sword immortal. It is enough to split the sky and the earth, and destroy everything. He took a deep breath and slowly absorbed the 3 sword energies into his body. As the sword energy entered his body, Lin Yi suddenly felt a powerful force filling his whole body. The meridians expanded as if they were about to burst by this force. He quickly practiced his skills, guiding this violent force to flow through his body. Finally, it slowly merged into the Danshan. Stayed next to the sword baby. When the sword baby felt the sword energy, its light became brighter. Makes a buzzing sound. As if happily welcoming this powerful force. Feeling the surging power in my body. Lin Yi clenched his fists. There was a gleam of excitement in his eyes. These 3 divine sword energies not only greatly enhanced his strength. It also gave him a deeper understanding of Kendo. With these 3 divine sword energies, I have a way to save my life. Even if I encounter a powerful being at the divine level, I won't surrender. Lin Yi thought to himself. At this moment, he felt like he was holding a nuclear weapon. A sense of security arises naturally. At this moment, Lin Yi suddenly remembered the little girl named Yin Yin who appeared in the simulation. After living for hundreds of years, he still looks like an 8-year-old. The opponent is unable to practice, and has a sword body. And he has lived for hundreds of years without getting old. What kind of monster is this? It seems that I must investigate it carefully when I have time. Lin Yi shook his head and temporarily put aside his doubts about Yin Yin. Indeed, an 8-year-old girl who has lived for hundreds of years has a sword body but is unable to practice. It's really unbelievable. But right now, there are more important things waiting for him to do. Dan Zunzun, this name once made him feel like a thorn in his throat. Now it is no longer an insurmountable mountain. Xiao Han is currently only at the foundation building stage. And Dan Zun, even if he recondensed his body, the strength will inevitably be greatly reduced. After reaching the peak of nascent soul stage and recondensing the physical body, it is a blessing to fall to the early stage of Yuanying. Even though he is now possessed by Xiao Han Rong. At most, his strength is comparable to mine. Maybe even slightly worse. Thinking of this, Lin Yi couldn't help but sneer. He slowly spread out his palms, and in his palms, the ancient alchemy furnace was floating. This alchemy furnace was once the symbol of the alchemy master. It was also the source of countless nightmares in Lin Yi's simulations. In order to avoid being hunted down by Dan Zun, he had been hiding from place to place, living in constant fear. But now, everything has changed. The offense and defense have changed. This alchemy furnace is about to change its owner. Refining this furnace today can put one thing to rest. Lin Yi whispered to himself, with a hint of determination in his eyes. He took a deep breath. The sword energy in the Danshan surged out, turning into a sharp sword beam, shooting straight into the alchemy furnace. All I heard was a muffled bang. The remaining consciousness of the alchemist in the furnace was instantly shattered. It turns into starlight and disappears into nothingness. From this moment on, this top-grade magical furnace officially became Lin Yi's possession. He gently stroked the smooth surface of the furnace, feeling the surging energy contained in it. An indescribable feeling of satisfaction welled up in my heart. Thousands of miles away, in the town of Wudin, smoke rises from cooking fires and the atmosphere is peaceful and quiet. Inside a luxurious house, the illusory figure of Danzun was floating in the air, instructing Xiao Han in the alchemy technique. Xiao Han listened attentively, not daring to slack off in the slightest. Suddenly, the illusory figure of Danzun flickered, became more transparent, and almost disappeared. Dan Lao, what's wrong with you? Xiao Han noticed something strange and asked quickly with concern. Venerable Dan shook his head slowly, with a hint of helplessness in his tone. One of my alchemy furnaces suddenly stopped sensing anything. Xiao Han was shocked when he heard this and asked quickly. Even Elder Dan's alchemy furnace can refine it, who is the other party? Venerable Dan was silent for a moment and spoke in a low voice. Didn't I tell you that I once accepted a disciple? It was he who caused me to be in this state. He took away his master's inheritance and a top-grade magic weapon. I thought I would take you to get it back in 2 days, but I didn't expect that. Someone actually dispersed the spiritual consciousness in it. Upon hearing this, Xiao Han became extremely anxious. In his opinion, he was the successor of Master Dan. Everything that belongs to Danzun should belong to him, including that top-grade alchemy furnace. He had also heard from the Dan master about past events. To the brother who killed his master, he never took it seriously. Now, someone has taken the lead. How could he bear it when something that belonged to him was taken away? Dan Lao, who is it? Who stole your alchemy furnace? Tell me, I will kill him and take back the furnace. Xiao Han's tone was excited, with flames of anger flashing in his eyes. Danzun looked at Xiao Han, nodded with satisfaction, and spoke slowly. Honor, can you erase the consciousness that Master left on the alchemy furnace? The other party is at least at the nascent soul stage. We know nothing about this person, and we might suffer losses if we go there rashly. When Xiao Han heard this, he was shocked. How is that possible? Mr. Dan, didn't you say before that he was just a waste? Why should we be afraid of him? Master Dan shook his head and explained. It's true that he is a waste, but what if the furnace was stolen by someone else? Maybe he sold the furnace to someone else. Or maybe he found a powerful backer. All of these are possible. So, we can't act rashly. At least we need to understand the situation first. Venerable Dan paused and continued. I do know a place with spiritual fire. When your strength improves a little, we will go and get it. Upon hearing this, Xiao Han was overjoyed. The technique he practiced was called Yanling Ju. It has the power to seize the fortune of heaven and earth, and can change one's own qualifications. But the spiritual fire needs to be refined to improve the level of spiritual roots. The spiritual fire that Danzun gave him earlier. This allowed him to successfully improve his spiritual roots, which enabled him to quickly build his foundation. Thinking of this, he suppressed his excitement. Calm down and continue to make the elixir. Chapter 047. Do you think I can't afford it? Lin Yi naturally didn't know what the current Danzun was thinking. Now he is refining the alchemy furnace. He broke up the opponent's consciousness. Now that he is at the nascent soul level, he can refine it very quickly. In less than a day, 1/3 of it was refined. If he is in the Jindan stage, then it will take at least 10 years to refine it. Even if one devotes all his energy to refining it, it will probably take several years. But now that I have reached the nascent soul stage, then this time will be greatly shortened. Because even the former owner of this alchemy furnace was at the nascent soul level. It should be about time. Immediately afterwards, Lin Yi stopped refining the alchemy furnace. Because there is one more important thing to do. But before leaving, I have to get rid of one person first. It is said that it is never too late for a gentleman to take revenge, but it takes a villain from morning to night. Although Lin Yi does not admit that he is a gentleman, he feels that he is at least a real villain. Then he packed up. Actually, there wasn't much to pack. Because he is a casual cultivator. Always carry your own things with you. And this house in front of you requires a spirit stone every month. Therefore, rather than being casual cultivators, they are actually just low-level workers in the world of immortal cultivation. After a while, Lin Yi walked out of the house. I have been practicing simulation all this time and haven't had time to come out. Walking on the streets of Meteorite Market again, Lin Yi had a feeling of unreality. How to say it? I feel much more down to earth. This feeling is beyond words. It's like a person who lives on a daily basis suddenly becomes worth over 100 million. He hid his cultivation a little bit. Only the weak spiritual power fluctuations of the Qi refining stage were revealed. Afterwards, he strode to the Sihai Chamber of Commerce. The Sihai Chamber of Commerce is spread across various towns and cities as well as places where immortal cultivators gather. It is also a subsidiary of the Sihai Immortal Alliance. This is the only one who has built his business and has established chambers of commerce all over the world of immortal cultivation. I didn't expect that the master behind this was actually the evil ghost spirit sect. On the surface, it is assigning tasks to the independent practitioners. The resources obtained were secretly transported to the ghost spirit sect. Such a traitorous force. Lin Yi naturally intended to teach the other party a lesson. Just think of it as interest. Zhao Dabao from the Sihai Chamber of Commerce saw Lin Yi, a casual cultivator at the Qi refining level, dressed in ordinary clothes. Then he lost the intention to greet her. He called a servant to go and greet them. But Lin Yi was not going to let him go. He came to the main hall and shouted in a loud voice, "Who is the person in charge here?" To be honest, Lin Yi naturally didn't know who Zhao Dabao was. Although we already know that there is such a person in the simulation. But the simulation is presented in text form. There were no photos or pictures of the other party for him to see. So Lin Yi naturally had no idea what Zhao Dabao looked like. All we know is that this person is the person in charge of the Sihai Chamber of Commerce in Meteorite City. Zhao Dabao saw Lin Yi yelling loudly. There was a hint of impatience on his face, but he still stepped forward and spoke. "My name is Zhao Dabao. I wonder what this Taoist friend wants to talk to you about." Lin Yi looked at the other person with a condescending look. "Bring out the most valuable magic weapons you have here so I can see them." "Oh." Zhao Dabao became interested, he curled his lips and smiled calmly. "These spiritual tools and magic treasures are of great value. I wonder if you can afford them." Hearing this, Lin Yi took out a large bag of spirit stones and slapped it on the table. "Open your dog eyes and see clearly what is inside." As he spoke, he opened up a little more space in the storage bag. Zhao Dabao looked through the tiny gap he had opened and found a large bag full of spirit stones. A rough estimate is about 50,000. His expression changed, and he looked at Lin Yi calmly. Then he whispered to the person next to him. The servant next to him ran out in a hurry. Then Zhao Dabao stepped forward, led Lin Yi to another room, and said with a smile. "We don't have any magic weapons here, but we do have spiritual weapons. I wonder what type of spiritual weapon you want." Lin Yi was stunned. He didn't expect that the Meteorite branch of the Sihai Chamber of Commerce couldn't even produce a magic weapon. But the thought of having a spiritual weapon is actually not bad. After all, he still has a low-grade flying sword and a low-grade alchemy furnace on him. Plus a Danzun's furnace that had just refined 1/3 of the alchemy. To be honest, if he could have obtained a mid-grade magic weapon a few days ago, he would have been happy for a long time. But now, I can face spiritual weapons calmly. Get me a better flying sword. Zhao Dabao smiled and nodded, then walked to the secret compartment in front of him. Gently press the mechanism and the secret compartment slowly opens. One of the flying swords was revealed, emitting a chilling cold aura. The sword is dark blue all over, with faint ripples of water flowing, and the hilt is engraved with exquisite runes. You can tell at first glance that it is no ordinary item. Fellow deist, please look, this Han Shui sword in front of you is a top-grade spiritual weapon. Zhao Dabao introduced. This sword is made of 10,000-year-old cold iron as the main material, supplemented by deep-sea crystal. It is extremely sharp and has its own ice attribute, which can greatly enhance the power of sword moves. Lin Yi looked around and felt that the Han Shui sword was chilling and emitting a light blue light. Although it is somewhat in conflict with his fire-attributed spiritual roots, it is indeed a rare weapon. Then a smile appeared on his face. Great, help me pack it up. Zhao Dabao said with a wry smile. Fellow deist, don't you even ask the price of this sword. Lin Yi pretended to be confused and asked. Why? You think I can't afford it? Zhao Dabao smiled slowly. No, that's not what I meant. It's just that this spiritual weapon flying sword requires 20,000 liters Ao grade spiritual stones. Lin Yi frowned when he heard this. I didn't expect the Sihai Chamber of Commerce to be so shady, selling a top-grade spiritual weapon for only 20,000 low-grade spiritual stones. But he had no intention of paying. At this moment, more than a dozen disciples wearing uniform clothes embroidered with the 4 Cs Immortal Alliance logo suddenly rushed in from outside. As soon as they came in, they started shouting. Where is the thief? Upon hearing this, Zhao Dabao suddenly straightened up and no longer bent over to introduce himself as he did before. There was a playful smile on his face, as if he was watching a monkey show. The servant next to him quickly pointed at Lin Yi, he is it. As soon as he finished speaking, more than a dozen disciples from the 4 Cs Immortal sect surrounded him aggressively. They must arrest Lin Yi. Lin Yi pretended to be puzzled and asked Zhao Dabao, Manager Zhao, what does this mean? Zhao Dabao sneered and said, Boy, hand over the spiritual stones you stole from us. Lin Yi glanced around at the dozen or so disciples from the 4 Cs Immortal sect who had gathered around him. He looked at Zhao Dabao again and asked back. If you rely on them, it's not enough. After saying this, Lin Yi released his sword intent. His body was motionless, but he seemed like a peerless sword, emitting endless sword light. The sharp aura instantly enveloped the entire meteorite market. Chapter 048, Little Guy, come with me. At the same time, all the flying swords in the entire meteorite market. No matter whether it is a magic weapon or a spiritual weapon, no matter whether it is low grade or high grade, or even the best. They were all shaking violently at this moment. There were buzzing sounds, as if surrendering to a supreme sword master. Countless casual cultivators showed horrified expressions and looked at each other. What happened? Oh my god, which sword master is angry? At this moment, Zhao Dabao and a group of disciples of the 4 Cs Immortal Alliance stood still as if they were under a spell. Their eyes were wide open and their mouths were wide enough to fit an egg. The terrifying sword intent emanating from Lin Yi made them tremble with fear. It was as if an invisible hand had grasped their throats, making it difficult for them to breathe. Zhao Dabao was the first to react, and he fell to his knees with a plop. His forehead hit the floor heavily, making a dong 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 sound, like pounding garlic. Senior, please spare my life. I didn't know you were here, and I was blinded by your kindness. I didn't recognize you, and I offended you. I hope you can spare my life." Lin Yi ignored Zhao Dabao's plea for mercy. He walked straight to the Han Shui sword, reached out and grasped the hilt, and slowly pulled it out. The dark blue sword exudes a chilling coldness. The sword blade was flowing with light like water waves, containing endless murderous intent. "The sword is nice, but I wonder if it's sharp," Lin Yi said calmly, without any emotion in his tone. As soon as he finished speaking, a sharp sword light flashed, so fast that it was difficult to capture with the naked eye. Zhao Dabao's head flew high and blood gushed out. It spilled on the smooth floor, forming a gorgeous blood flower. Upon seeing this, the other disciples of the Four Seas Immortal Alliance were horrified and turned around to flee from this horrible place. However, they didn't have time to take a single step. Lin Yi opened his mouth and spit out a small sword shining with golden light. The moment the small sword appeared, the whole world seemed to stop. The air solidified and time stood still. The next moment, a golden light flashed, and the Four Seas Chamber of Commerce, along with the disciples of the Four Seas Immortal Alliance, were instantly reduced to dust. Disappeared without a trace. As if it had never existed. Hiss! Lin Yi couldn't help but take a breath, a hint of shock flashed in his eyes. He just wanted to test his attack ability. "I wanted to try out the power of the sword baby, but I didn't expect it to be so terrifying." With one strike, the entire Sihai Chamber of Commerce was razed to the ground. At this moment, all the swords in the meteorite market rose into the sky, as if paying homage to the king. Lin Yi felt a strange connection, as if he could control all the swords. With a thought, all the swords that flew into the air suddenly changed direction, converging into a mighty river of swords, rushing towards the headquarters of the Four Seas Immortal Alliance in the distance. In just a moment, the Four Seas Immortal Alliance in the entire meteorite city was razed to the ground. Ha ha ha! Lin Yi took back the sword baby, soared into the sky, and laughed loudly. The experiment just now made him discover the terrifying power of the sword baby, which was far beyond his expectations. "I believe that even if magic weapons are used, it will be difficult to cause such a powerful attack. But at the same time, the consumption is also staggering. Just one strike consumed half of the sword infant's sword power." Looking down at the Sihai Chamber of Commerce being torn into pieces by the sword force and completely vaporized, Lin Yi was filled with emotion. This was his first actual combat experience since traveling across time. Although he had experienced life and death countless times in simulation before, simulation and reality were different after all. This actual combat gave him a clearer understanding of his own strength. In an instant he flew out of the meteorite market. Originally planned to snatch the Yellow Springs demon map. But now he didn't know where the teleportation array from the Sihai Immortal Gate to the Yunmen secret realm was. After all, during the simulation, he followed the people from the Four Seas Immortal sect. But now, he didn't know the exact location. Whatever. Lin Yi thought to himself. In that case, go get the spiritual fire from the Spirit Snake Valley. At least he knew the general direction to the Spirit Snake Valley. Half a day later, he finally arrived at the Spirit Snake Valley. Looking at the poisonous snakes all over the ground and the spirit snakes at the chi refining level, Lin Yi was filled with emotion for a moment. Once in the simulation, this place was also a nightmare for him. "I have fallen in this place several times. But now that his true form has appeared, he has already reached the nascent soul stage. I will be disrespectful to refuse this spiritual fire," Lin Yi said to himself. All the spiritual creatures in this world are created by heaven and earth and are extremely precious. Not to mention the hostile relationship between him and Xiao Han. The value of the spiritual fire itself is enough to make him come. Lin Yi's spiritual sense covered the entire Spirit Snake Valley, and soon he found the entrance. But the guardian snake not far away saw nothing. He was still curled up on a big rock, basking in the sun. Little did he know that he had just been to the gates of hell. After passing through the lava cave, a huge lava cave soon appeared in front of us. Feeling the high temperature inside, Lin Yi couldn't help but sigh. No wonder he was melted by the flames when he came here with the strength of the Qi refining stage. It can be said that if he had not been practicing both physical cultivation and physical training, he would have been burned to death after staying here for a short while. Given the temperature here, even an average foundation establishment stage cultivator would still get hurt. In the vast underground space, lava gathers into a huge lava lake. Red magma was rolling on the surface of the lake, and hot columns of fire were erupting from time to time. The stalactites hanging from the top of the cave were scorched, making a hissing sound. The deafening roar came from this lava lake. In the center of the lava lake, a dancing flame emitted a terrifyingly high temperature, causing the surrounding air to distort. But for Lin Yi today, this temperature is nothing. And in the middle of the flames, a nimble little flame snake stared at Lin Yi vigilantly. At this moment, the snake assumed an attacking posture, its tongue flickering and making a hissing warning sound. Lin Yi smiled and said slowly, "Little guy, come with me." After saying that, he stretched out his palm, and a gentle spiritual power wrapped around the little snake. With a gentle push, it was pulled out of the lava lake. The little snake seemed to sense the danger and began to struggle violently. The flames rose and the temperature suddenly increased. It seemed to melt Lin Yi's palm. But Lin Yi is at such a high level now, how could he tolerate its insolence? There was a hint of coldness in his eyes. "I originally thought that you had some intelligence, so I wanted to spare your life and let you practice with me. But I didn't expect that you would be so ungrateful. Now I can't spare you." After saying that, he snapped his fingers and a sharp sword energy broke through the air. Swish! The sword flashed, as fast as lightning. The little fire snake that was struggling just now suddenly became quiet. Only a red flame was left, emitting a burning breath. Lin Yi stretched out his hand and took the flame into his hand. After examining it carefully for a moment, he took out the alchemy furnace of the alchemist and carefully placed the flame into it. Naturally, it was impossible for such a spiritual object of heaven and earth to be left to Xiao Han. Lin Yi thought to himself, as long as it belongs to the protagonist, it's always right to grab it. His life motto is, "Wear the protagonist's shoes, walk your own path, and let the protagonist find it." After doing all this, Lin Yi had an idea and carved a few lines of words on the rock wall next to him. "Wow! My luck has exploded. I actually found a spiritual fire in the cave. I'm so happy." After carving the words, Lin Yi clapped his hands and a playful smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. It's tempting to think that if Dan Zun and Xiao Han arrived here, they would suddenly find that the spiritual fire was gone. And when they see this sentence nearby, their expressions will surely be very interesting. Then, Lin Yi flashed and disappeared into the lava cave. Chapter 049, Spiritual Funnel, Giant Sword Shadow. Bianfeng Market is bustling with people. The bustling crowds of people shuttled between the rows of shops. The sounds of hawking and bargaining are endless. There are so many rare treasures and elixirs to see, it is hard to take your eyes off. Lin Yi strolled through it, feeling the real hustle and bustle. It is completely different from the cold scene in the simulation. Although he had been to Biun Market many times in simulation before, it was just a simulation after all. This place is much better than the meteorite market where he had been before. Biun Market is larger in scale and has a richer variety of goods. It is worthy of being a famous trading center in the world of immortal cultivation. It is not far from Lingxi Valley and Loxia Mountain. It attracted a large number of independent practitioners and the competition was extremely fierce. It was because the competition here was too fierce. Lin Yi, a small casual cultivator at the third level of qi refining, had no choice but to choose the remote meteorite market. This time I came to Bianfeng market. Lin Yi's goal is not to purchase treasures or cultivation resources. But it was to find someone who had influenced his Taoism twice in the simulation. Xia Xiaochan. This woman has a special physique. Even if you swallow a strange poison, you can be safe and sound. It can even improve your cultivation. This aroused Lin Yi's great interest. Lin Yi later fought against Dan Zun and the Danta Dan Valley behind him. You have to build your own power. And talents like Xia Xiaochan, who have special physique, are exactly what he needs. In addition to Xia Xiaochan, he also plans to recruit others with special talents discovered in the simulation, such as Fatso. I searched in Bianfeng market for 2 days. Lin Yi still couldn't find any trace of Xia Xiaochan. In desperation, he temporarily gave up the search. He rented a top-quality cave in the market town. The monthly rent is 100 spirit stones. In comparison, a mid-grade cave only requires 10 spirit stones per month. The lower-grade cave was similar to his previous residence in Meteorite Market. That can't be considered a cave at all. It's just a room that couldn't be simpler. There was only a futon and a table inside. The top-grade caves are completely different. Not only is the space spacious, the floor is paved with white jade. The decoration is fresh and elegant. More importantly, there is a spirit gathering array inside the cave. There is also a protective formation outside the cave. Not only can it resist the attacks of the monks in the foundation building period, it can also withstand 3 attacks from a Jindan stage cultivator. This is also the reason why many independent cultivators like to live in the market town. As long as you have spirit stones, you can buy everything you need. Security is also guaranteed. Of course, all of this requires spiritual stones to maintain. The spirit stones consumed by the spirit gathering array also need to be replenished by yourself. The market will not provide it for free. What made Lin Yi laugh was that he actually saw his wanted poster in Bianfeng City. The portrait is very different from the real him. I think what he did in Meteorite Market was known to the 4 Seas Immortal Alliance. Only then was a wanted warrant issued. However, all those who saw him at that time are no longer alive. Therefore, the information on the wanted poster is not clear, we only know that he is a swordsman. Lin Yi didn't react to this. In the past, he might have taken the 4 Seas Immortal Alliance seriously. But through simulation, he already knew that the other party was just a puppet of the ghost spirit sect. Naturally, I won't care anymore. Lin Yi activated the cave's protective formation and spirit gathering formation. The concentration of spiritual energy in the spirit gathering array can be adjusted according to the number of spirit stones invested. 1 spiritual stone represents 1 time of spiritual energy. A maximum of 10 can be put in. Lin Yi put in 10 spirit stones without hesitation. Maximize the effectiveness of the spirit gathering array. Start simulation. Ding! A simulation of the nascent soul stage requires 3000 low-grade spirit stones. 3000. Hearing this number, Lin Yi couldn't help but be shocked. 1 simulation costs 3000 spirit stones. He was originally proud of owning more than 50,000 spirit stones. Now it seems that this amount of spirit stones is only enough for simulation a dozen times. System, you are too dark. Although he complained, Lin Yi still reluctantly paid 3000 spirit stones. The simulation is started. In the first month, you practiced in seclusion in the high-quality cave you rented in Biun Market. The spirit gathering array in the cave is running at full power, and rich spiritual energy surrounds you, helping you to absorb and refine it quickly. You practice the 10,000 swords technique, greedily absorbing the spiritual energy around you. And your cultivation level is steadily improving. In the second month, you continue to practice in the cave. As your cultivation level increases, your demand for spiritual energy also increases. The spirit gathering array of the top grade cave house is no longer able to meet your needs. Every time you practice, it will cause fluctuations in the surrounding spiritual energy. It was like a huge vortex, sucking in all the spiritual energy nearby. In the third month, a strange phenomenon appeared. With your cave as the center, a huge spiritual energy funnel is formed, and spiritual energy visible to the naked eye gathers from all directions and pours into your cave. Such a strange phenomenon naturally attracted the attention of other monks in the market. They all speculated which great being was practicing in seclusion and could actually cause such a strange phenomenon in heaven and earth. The market managers also noticed this, but they didn't bother you. Instead, I sent someone to guard your cave to prevent anyone from disturbing your practice. In the fourth month, the scope of the spiritual energy funnel expanded further, covering almost half of Bianfeng City. The concentration of spiritual energy in the market dropped suddenly, and the cultivation of other cultivators was affected. Some casual cultivators began to complain, but more people chose to endure it silently. After all, an existence that can cause such a strange phenomenon is definitely not something they can provoke. In the fifth month, you are still practicing in seclusion, turning a deaf ear to everything in the outside world. Your sword skills have improved by leaps and bounds. At this time, a large number of cultivators had gathered outside Bianfeng City. They were all attracted by the strange sight here, and wanted to see who was in seclusion here. In the sixth month, a giant sword several hundred meters long suddenly appeared above your cave, emitting a sharp sword intent, and soared into the sky. This giant sword phantom is not a physical entity, but is condensed from pure sword energy, emitting a terrifying pressure. The appearance of the giant sword made the monks in Bianfeng City more convinced that there was a peerless swordsman practicing in seclusion here. In the seventh month, the shadow of the giant sword still hovers above your cave, emitting bursts of sword sounds. Some monks who have some understanding of the way of swordsmanship have come to your cave, trying to comprehend the true meaning of the way of swordsmanship. In the 12th month, many monks had some sudden enlightenment after observing the giant sword vision above your cave. Not only do they have a clearer understanding of swordsmanship, they also admire you more. Some people even began to kneel outside your cave and regarded you as their life mentor. In the first year and 5 months, the demonic cultivators began to attack the major immortal cultivation markets and small and medium-sized immortal cultivation sections. Chapter 050 Sword Immortal, Sword Immortal. I don't know why, maybe because they are afraid of the existence of masters in Bianfeng City. The demon monks did not attack Biun Market. For a while, countless independent cultivators and small and medium-sized sects poured in here. The caves in Bianfeng City are in short supply and more prosperous than ever before. In the first 6 months, the demon monks became more and more rampant. The immortal sects finally reacted and began to form a coalition to resist the invasion. In the first year and 8 months, no one dared to cause trouble in Bianfeng City because of your presence. The immortal cultivators lived in peace, and formed teams to go out and hunt demon cultivators. In the second year, although you still did not come out of retreat, in the eyes of the monks in Bianfeng City, you are like a magic needle that stabilizes the sea, and you are their spiritual support. In the third year, a force called Sword Immortal Alliance has been formed in Bianfeng City. This force has 4 Jindan stage ancestors, more than 70 foundation building masters, and tens of thousands of chi-refining cultivators. The Sword Immortal Alliance has already conquered a large area of territory and reinforced the market formation several times. Although you have not yet come out of seclusion, you are respected as the leader of the Sword Immortal Alliance and are the spiritual belief of everyone. With you here, they will no longer be afraid and will move forward courageously. In the 4th year, the demon monks noticed the rise of the Sword Immortal Alliance and sent two nascent soul demons to attack Bianfeng City. The Sword Immortal Alliance retreated to the market town and relied on formations to resist. However, the formation set up by the four Jindan ancestors was vulnerable to the Yuanying old demon, and was destroyed in an instant. The casual cultivators all cast their eyes towards your cave, hoping that you, the sword cultivator, can turn the tide. However, you still haven't shown up. A feeling of despair spread among the crowd. They finally realized that you never promised to protect them. The so-called Sword Immortal Alliance leader is just their wishful coronation. You may just be a passerby who is practicing in this place, and have nothing to do with them. When the two nascent soul demons saw the shadow of the giant sword above your cave, they were also afraid at first. But they waited for a long time and you still didn't move, so they thought you were afraid of fighting, so they attacked boldly. One of the old demons grinned and said, "Playing tricks? What a sword cultivator! I think he is nothing but a coward." After saying that, he brought out a huge black axe and chopped it towards your cave. Just as the giant axe was about to hit the cave, a dazzling white light shot out from the cave, instantly shattering the giant axe. Immediately afterwards, a figure in white slowly rose from the cave and hovered in the air. You finally showed up. You glanced coldly at the two nascent soul demons and said calmly, "What crime should you be punished for disturbing my quiet cultivation?" Your voice was not loud, but it was clearly heard throughout the entire Bianfeng city, and even the mountains in the distance seemed to tremble slightly. The two nascent soul demons' faces suddenly changed. They felt a terrifying pressure from you. Could it be that you are really a hidden peerless swordsman? A trace of regret rose in their hearts. If they had known this would happen, they should not have provoked this evil star. One of the old demons tried to remain calm and said, "Who are you? Why are you interfering in the affairs of my demon sect?" You sneered and replied, "I am Lin Yi, and this is my cave. You trespassed into my territory and dared to destroy my formation. Don't you deserve to die?" Before you finish your words, a crystal clear sword suddenly appears in your hand, the blade emitting a dazzling light. "Today, I will let you see what a true swordsman is." You fly through the air, your clothes fluttering, like a banished immortal descending to earth. The powerful sword intent surged out like a tide, changing the color of the sky and the earth. The two nascent soul demons were horrified when they saw this, but they still tried to remain calm. "Boy, don't be so arrogant!" One of the old demons roared, and brought out a huge black axe, chopping towards you. Another old demon also raised a long black banner, with gusts of dark wind and ghosts howling and wolves howling, sweeping towards you. You watched all this with cold eyes, and when their attack was about to come, you slowly spoke, "I'll give you one chance, run away." The two nascent soul demons were stunned when they heard this, and then burst into laughter. "You arrogant boy, you still dare to speak nonsense when you are about to die. Today I will let you see how powerful I am." They don't believe that a monk who has been in seclusion for several years can be that strong, and they just think you are bluffing. Seeing this, you said nothing more, just stretched out two fingers and gently stroked them. A dazzling white light flashed, as if cutting through time and space. The two nascent soul demons who were originally aggressive were instantly frozen in place. The next moment, their bodies split in half, blood gushed out, dyeing the sky red. Two old demons in the nascent soul stage died before they could even scream. "I saw you kill two demons cleanly and neatly." The monks in Bianfeng City, who had originally been in despair, now burst into thunderous cheers. "Sword Immortal! Sword Immortal!" They shouted your name, their eyes full of awe and worship. You stand in the air, looking down at the cheering crowd below, but your heart is calm. You just wanted to practice in peace, but you didn't expect to be involved in this dispute. You are not interested in the so-called Sword Immortal Alliance and just want to continue your cultivation and then develop your power. However, when you heard them say that you were already their leader and had tens of thousands of followers, something suddenly occurred to you. You have been looking for strength to fight the enemy all along, but you didn't expect to get it in this way. Perhaps, this is God's will. You look at the hopeful eyes below, and gradually make up your mind. Since they need a leader, then you should be the leader. You speak slowly, your voice is not loud, but it is clearly heard throughout the city. From today on, I am the leader of the Sword Immortal Alliance, Lin Yi. In the 5th year, you officially took over Bianfeng City and the Sword Immortal Alliance. And integrate the two, and begin to prepare for a counterattack against the Ghost Spirit Sect's evil cultivators. You are well aware that the 4 Seas Immortal Alliance has spies all over the market, and they will report your every move to the demonic path. In order to prevent the news from leaking out, you made a prompt decision to uproot the 4 Seas Immortal Alliance's power in Bianfeng City. The members of the Sword Cultivator Alliance have no objection to your iron-blooded skills. They are full of awe and obedience towards you. After clearing out the internal troubles, you found Xiao Chan, who was struggling at the bottom of society. You announced to the public that you accepted her as a menial disciple, but secretly you poured resources into training her. Xiao Chan admires you immensely, obeys your every word, and executes any order without hesitation. In the 6th year, you realized that Bianfeng City alone could not fight against the Ghost Spirit Sect. So you go to Xiun Sect to seek allies. Ancestor Xiun has heard of your reputation as a swordsman and gave you a warm welcome. Chapter 51 Master Wang Jian. You explained in detail to Patriarch Xiun the threat posed by the Ghost Spirit Sect and their ambition to expand. Try to persuade Xiun Sect to join forces with you to fight against the evil cultivators. However, Xiun Patriarch disagrees and thinks you are exaggerating the threat of the Ghost Spirit Sect. They are just regarded as objects of trial for low-level disciples. You sighed inwardly, realizing that you cannot persuade Xiun Sect, so you prepare to leave. But just as you were about to leave, the Purple Cloud Sect's God Transformation Patriarch, the Heavenly Sword Lord, suddenly appeared before you. He looks at you with a surprised look, as if he is looking at an old friend who has been away for a long time. You are slightly surprised, bow your head, and are about to leave. The Heavenly Sword Lord stopped you and asked, "Fellow deist, please stay. I wonder which sect your master belongs to? Have you ever heard of Master Wang Jian?" You are confused, wondering why this old master suddenly asked about your master, and you don't know who this Master Wang Jian is. You thought for a moment and answered half-truthfully, "I got the inheritance by chance in a secret place. I don't have a master." The Heavenly Sword God asked again, "Has that fellow Taoist ever learned the 10,000 swords technique?" Your mind was stirred. This 10,000 swords technique is exactly the technique you are currently practicing. You nodded and acknowledged it. Heavenly Sword Lord laughed loudly upon hearing this and said, "Since you have learned the 10,000 swords technique, you are my junior fellow apprentice. You are even more confused and don't understand why." Then the Heavenly Sword Lord explained, "Although I am from the Purple Cloud Sect, I do not practice the Purple Cloud Sect's techniques. When I was young, an old man taught me the art of Heavenly Sword, and from then on I became a sword practitioner. Later I learned that this Heavenly Sword art was created by Master Wang Jian. Since you and I are practicing Master Wang Jian's art, we are naturally brothers. You suddenly realize it, and you are filled with emotion. I originally just wanted to form an alliance with Xiun Sect, but I didn't expect to accidentally recognize a senior brother in the spiritualization stage. And this senior brother is the only ancestor of Zeun sect. You originally hit a wall with Patriarch Zeun and were planning to look for another ally, but now you have this relationship. In the 7th year, you and the Heavenly Sword Divine Lord practiced hard in the Purple Cloud sect, verifying the sword techniques, and both of you improved your sword skills a lot. During this period, you happened to hear that an alchemist named Xiao Han was refining pills in the market at the foot of Zeun Mountain. You know that Xiao Han has plans for Zeun sect's spiritual fire. You inform Lord Tianjian of this matter and remind him to be careful. In the 8th year, the Purple Cloud sect and the Sword Immortal Alliance officially joined forces to launch a comprehensive counterattack against the Ghost Spirit sect. You led the Sword Immortal Alliance monks to charge into battle and fought a desperate battle with the Ghost Spirit sect's demon cultivators. In the 9th year, under the joint resistance of you and Zeun sect, more and more immortal cultivators have joined your camp to fight against the invasion of the Ghost Spirit sect. In the 11th year, you once again displayed your divine power and killed 3 nascent soul stage-old demons of the Ghost Spirit sect in one fell swoop, making your name known in the world of immortal cultivation. Your reputation has also made some demonic people increasingly wary. In the 12th year, Xiao Han and Dan Zun finally discovered your whereabouts. Xiao Han accused you of killing your master to steal the treasure. You are the biggest hypocrite in the world. However, your benevolent deeds have long been deeply rooted in the hearts of the people, and the members of the Sword Immortal Alliance are extremely loyal to you. They regard Xiao Han's accusation as an insult to the entire alliance, and they are outraged and want justice for you. At the same time, Zeun sect also publicly expressed its trust in you, believing that you are upright and honest and would never do something like killing your master. They also claimed that Xiao Han was a spy sent by the Ghost Spirit sect, intending to split the immortal resistance forces. For a time, Xiao Han's killing order spread all over the world, and he became a rat crossing the street that everyone wanted to kill, and he was on the run. In the 13th year, you have become the benchmark for immortal cultivators to resist demon cultivators, and many independent cultivators follow your lead. With the help of the strange poison you carefully prepared, Xiao Chan also reached the state of perfect foundation building. In the 14th year, the immortal forces attached to you are growing stronger and stronger, including famous sects such as the Fengling sect. The Ghost Spirit sect's offensive also gradually showed signs of decline. In the 16th year, Tianqian Dao Palace wanted to form an alliance with you, but you flatly refused. The angry Tianqian Dao Palace spread rumors everywhere, slandering you for being narrow-minded and intolerant of others. In order to set the record straight, you revealed, under the watchful eyes of the crowd, that you had knelt at the gate of Tianqian Taoist Temple for 3 days and 3 nights, begging to become a disciple, but were cruelly rejected. When this statement was made, the whole world was shocked. Everyone criticized Tianqian Dao Palace for being blind and rejecting such a rare genius. After checking the entry examination records, Tianqian Dao Palace found that what you said was true. There was indeed a young man kneeling at the door who was turned away by them. And this young man is you, who is now famous all over the world. In the 17th year, due to the dispute between you and Tianqian Dao Palace, countless people knew that you had not been practicing for a long time. You have reached the nascent soul stage at a young age, and many cultivators regard you as the reincarnation of an ancient great being. You did not refute this, but acquiesced. While you are leading the Sword Immortal Alliance disciples to resist the Ghost Spirit sect, you are also exchanging sword skills with the Heavenly Sword God. The Heavenly Sword God is increasingly envious of your ability to condense a sword infant and master a myriad of sword techniques at your fingertips. In the 18th year, after mutual confirmation with the Heavenly Sword Lord, you were finally able to achieve the sword light differentiation, and your strength reached a new level. In the 19th year, you gifted the sword energy passed down to you by Master Wanjian to Lord Tianjian, which helped him to reach a higher level of strength and reach the pinnacle of the incarnation realm. You hope that the heavenly sword master can break through the bottleneck as soon as possible and become a powerful helper in your fight against the ghost spirit sect. In the 20th year, a genius named Lin Hao suddenly appeared. He was already at the Jindan stage at a young age and was praised as a rare genius that only appears once in a century. However, with you, the reincarnation of the ancient sword immortal, any genius will pale in comparison. You are slightly surprised at Lin Hao's talent, but you also know that the protector behind him is powerful. So you dare not take action in advance. In the 21st year, the ghost spirit sect was so mad that it slaughtered all the mortals in the country, sparking the anger of all the righteous forces in the world of immortal cultivation. You discussed with the heavenly sword lord that you must not sit still and wait for death, so the two of you began to plan and prepare to take the initiative to attack the ghost spirit sect. In the 22nd year, you and Lord Tianjian will take the lead. Many immortal forces responded and formed a coalition to launch a full-scale counterattack against the ghost spirit sect. In the 23rd year, you and Lord Tianjian secretly sneaked into the ghost spirit sect's secret realm. However, he unexpectedly encountered an ambush by 4 powerful gods. The heavenly sword lord fought 3 of them alone, while you were entangled by another old demon in the god transformation stage. Chapter 052, Ghost Spirit Sect's Great Elder. At the critical moment of life and death, you know that you are no match for the other party. He then unleashed the sword energy inherited from Master Wanjian without hesitation. Instantly, the sky and the earth changed color, and sword rain fell like a waterfall, covering the entire secret realm. The old demon from the ghost spirit sect who was trying to kill you was killed instantly. The heavenly sword god also displayed his divine power and killed a person in the god transformation stage with 1 sword. The remaining 2 old demons knew they were no match for their opponent and fled in panic. Although you killed the old demon, you were also seriously injured. The heavenly sword god took you back to the Sword Immortal Alliance to heal your wounds. After this battle, the Guiling sect suffered heavy losses and was forced to switch from offense to defense. After you recover from your injuries, take the opportunity to call on all the immortal sects in the world to form an alliance and launch a full-scale counterattack against the ghost spirit sect. Countless immortal sects responded and joined the team to attack the ghost spirit sect. In the 25th year, the ghost spirit sect was defeated and retreated step by step. They retreated to the main altar and relied on the mountain protection formation to hold on. You discussed with the heavenly sword lord and decided to storm the ghost spirit sect headquarters and completely eradicate this cancer in the world of immortal cultivation. In the 26th year, the ghost spirit sect finally summoned their most powerful being, an old demon who had lived for who knows how many years. When this demon appeared, the whole world was shocked, because he should have been the great elder of the ghost spirit sect who should have died 30,000 years ago. 30,000 years ago, this old demon drew his sword towards the sky, wanting to ascend, but he fell under the heavenly calamity. I didn't expect that after 30,000 years, he would come back again. As soon as the ghost spirit sect's great elder was born, his demonic power was overwhelming, and countless immortal sects began to retreat. Several hidden gods of immortals want to besiege the old devil. But he was easily killed. You took advantage of the chaos to release the only sword energy inherited from Master Wanjian, and cut off a corner of the old demon's sleeve. The old demon looked at you with great surprise and said that you are another sword cultivator who has condensed a sword infant besides Master Wanjian. He said that if Master Wanjian came in person, he might turn around and leave, but your strength is too weak. After saying this, I will kill you in the bud. At the critical moment, the Heavenly Sword Master activated the sword energy you gave him. A huge sword suddenly appeared between heaven and earth. As if it was a punishment from heaven, it slashed towards the old demon. The old demon saw this sword energy and had to respond with caution. But he was still injured by this sword energy. The old demon's mouth was bleeding, and he shouted that the heavens were unfair. He had not yet fully recovered to his prime. If he is given a few more decades, he will be able to recover to his prime. Not to mention this one sword. He can even take 10 swords. As long as Master Wang Jian doesn't come in person, he has nothing to fear. The old demon was injured by the sword energy you gave him, and he was eventually defeated and fled. With hatred, you take advantage of the victory and lead all the immortal sect masters to kill the ghost spirit sects. People, determined to completely destroy the ghost spirit sect. In the 27th year, you became famous and became a legendary figure in the world of immortal cultivation. You realize that although the ghost spirit sect's old demon has escaped, he will come back one day to meet future challenges. Decided to lead the immortals to launch a large-scale counterattack, and eventually attacked the ghost spirit sect. At this point, the world of immortal cultivation, which had been plagued by the ghost spirit sect for decades, was finally ruled by the immortals again. Pretty. In front of the simulator, Lin Yi saw this scene and waved his fist excitedly. It should have been a century of chaos. The great elder of the ghost spirit sect will eventually be defeated by the mansion behind Lin Hao. Now, he has joined forces with the Heavenly Sword Lord. Injure this old devil decades in advance. However, this simulation also made him deeply aware of the terrifying power of the old devil. Even if it doesn't return to its heyday, he can still kill several great immortals in the god transformation stage. At his peak, he even dared to draw his sword toward the sky. An existence that desires to ascend. Lin Yi couldn't help but feel scared. If he hadn't given the heavenly sword god a sword energy inheritance, it is estimated that the ghost spirit sect will still turn the tables this time. In the end, it was only with the help of mansion behind Lin Hao that they were able to save the situation. But if that happens, we'll have to wait another 70 years. 70 years later, the old devil regained his peak strength. But he still lost to the mansion behind Lin Hao. So, what is the strength of the mansion behind Lin Hao? How powerful is the Master Wang Jian who inherited his legacy? Just one sword energy can hurt the old devil. Lin Yi was in deep thought when a flash of inspiration came to him. The reason why the sword energy in his hand cannot hurt the opponent is because his strength is too weak. The same sword energy is in the hands of Heavenly Sword God, a peak-level powerful god. The power is naturally incomparable. Looking at the lines of writing on the simulator, Lin Yi breathed a sigh of relief. The biggest worry that has always troubled him, the ghost spirit sect, finally solved it. Then, he started watching the following content. In the 28th year, you received an urgent request for help from the Fengling sect. According to the news, Fengling sect Saint Nalan Yan and Xiao Han made a 30-year agreement, and now the deadline has expired. Xiao Han has already formed his infant stage, while Nalan Yan is stuck in the foundation building stage. The difference in strength is huge. As expected, Nalan Yan was quickly defeated, but Xiao Han was aggressive and threatened to destroy the Fengling sect. The ancestor of the Fengling sect, a Yuanying stage cultivator, tried to mediate, but was humiliated by Xiao Han instead, and was beaten back step by his sudden burst of late nascent soul strength. Without any help, Fengling sect has no choice but to ask you for help. Think about it for a moment. Since the Fengling sect has formed an alliance with the Sword Immortal Alliance you founded, they are your allies. You cannot just sit back and watch. So you set off immediately and rushed to Fengling sect. When we arrived at Fengling sect, the scene before us was a mess, with flames rising from the entire sect to the sky. Xiao Han stood proudly in the air. The ancestor of Fengling sect was seriously injured. The disciples were on high alert, as if facing a powerful enemy. Even Lang Yu was injured. Seeing Yu appear, Xiao Han slowly turned around, with a hint of contempt and ridicule. He sneered, "Hey, isn't this my good disciple who betrayed his master and ancestors? When you see your master, why don't you kneel down immediately?" Yu did not get angry, but said calmly, "Dan Zun, Fengling sect is an ally of our Sword Immortal Alliance. I will spare your life because you have taught me the way, but Xiao Han must die today." Xiao Han said coldly, "If you want to kill my disciple, it depends on whether you are qualified." After saying that, he attacked Yu. You have now condensed a sword infant, and your combat power is unparalleled. In the first fight, Yu injured the combination of Dan Zun and Xiao Han and made them spit blood. Seeing he was being defeated, Dan Zun suddenly used his secret technique, causing a cloud of blood mist to erupt from the spot. By the time you react, the other party has already escaped. You feel sorry for it, but you also know that if someone of the same level is determined to escape, then, unless you are much stronger than him, you will not be able to stop him. As Dan Zun was once at the peak of the nascent soul stage, he must have some hidden means. You saved Feng Lingzong and gained his following. Chapter 053 Jinao Island. In the 30th year, you feel that your strength has reached the stage of breakthrough, and then you start to retreat to reach a new level. In the 45th year, after 15 years of seclusion and hard training, you finally broke through to the middle stage of the nascent soul. After you came out of retreat, while consolidating your realm, you also began to work on improving the strength of the sect, refining various elixirs and magic weapons, and distributing them to your disciples. In the 46th year, the Ghost Spirit sect has been missing since it was severely damaged last time. And its ancestor has never appeared, which makes you feel at ease. Xiao Xiao Chan successfully broke through to the Jindan stage and condensed a rare golden elixir, greatly increasing her strength and fame. In the 48th year, you officially founded the Wanjian sect and recruited many disciples. Your reputation spread far and wide, and countless monks came to you to become your disciples. The Wanjian sect became very powerful in a short period of time and became a major force in the world of immortal cultivation. In the 55th year, you discovered a young man with outstanding talent among the new disciples. You saw that he had a kind heart and amazing character, so you accepted him as your disciple and taught him your sword art, hoping that he could inherit your legacy. In the 60th year, in addition to daily practice, you spent most of your time teaching your disciples. Watching your disciples grow stronger and stronger, you feel extremely happy and your life is full of fun. In the 90th year, your swordsmanship has improved day by day and reached a new height. But you practice the pure sword art, and your progress is slower than others, always staying in the middle stage of nascent soul. You realize that you must look for new opportunities to break through the bottleneck and make further progress. In the 108th year, Xiao Han integrated the forces of the Triangle region, gathered the two major forces of Dan Valley and Dan Tower, and launched a general attack on the Sword Immortal Alliance. It is rumored that Xiao Han has advanced to the divine transformation stage and his strength is unfathomable. The war is about to break out, and the world of immortal cultivation is watching the two major forces compete for supremacy. In the 109th year, Lin Hao suddenly challenges you to a fight. But you are well aware that the power behind Lin Hao is powerful, especially with the existence of Mansion. You feel that you are not his match yet, so you reject the challenge and choose to keep a low profile. In the 110th year, Xiao Xiao Chan broke through to the nascent soul stage and condensed a rare colorful nascent soul, and her strength improved by leaps and bounds again. Her breakthrough has added an important strength to you and the Sword Immortal Alliance. In the 111th year, Purple Cloud Sect's heavenly sword god suddenly called out to the immortal cultivation world, saying that he will share the same glory with you. Anyone or any force that wants to deal with you will be the enemy of Ziyun sect. At the same time, the Purple Cloud sect took action to stop the Triangle region forces led by Xiao Han, buying you a precious breathing space. In the 120th year, despite the help of the Purple Cloud sect, Lin Hao's Bulletin Tian League was too powerful, and the Sword Immortal League was eventually disbanded. You have no choice but to lead the remaining disciples to retreat to the Purple Cloud sect in order to make a comeback. In the 125th year, the mysterious vines behind Lin Hao severely injured the Purple Cloud sect's Heavenly Sword Lord. Afterwards, the forces in the Triangle region took advantage of the situation and completely destroyed the Purple Cloud sect. You are filled with grief and anger, but you can do nothing but make an elixir to save the Heavenly Sword Lord. In the 126th year, you led the remaining forces of the Wangjian sect and the Ziyun sect to retreat overseas. In the 130th year, you found a nice island overseas. Because the shape of the island resembled a golden turtle, you named it Golden Turtle Island. The island is rich in spiritual energy and resources, and is a rare place for cultivation. You and the remnants of the Purple Cloud sect rested and rebuilt the sect on the island, hoping to return to the mainland one day to avenge your hatred. In the 160th year, after years of integration, the two sects have long since become inseparable. You took advantage of the situation and merged the two sects into one, naming it the Wangxian sect, and you were elected as the leader. In the 180th year, your sword realm achieved a breakthrough during your practice. I have been able to make the sword light turn into silk and the sword energy into thunderous sound, and my strength has greatly improved. In the 188th year, Xia Xiaochan broke through to the spiritual transformation stage. You felt a huge pressure, but you were also happy for her. In the 190th year, Xia Xiaochan proposed to integrate the entire overseas forces. You understand her ambitions and acquiesce to her actions. In the 192nd year, one of your disciples finally reached the nascent soul stage. You felt very relieved that there was someone to take over. Over the past 200 years, the overseas situation has changed dramatically, and various forces have engaged in fierce battles for resources and territory. Xia Xiaochan relied on her powerful strength and skills to gradually unify the surrounding islands and establish a huge power. In the 260th year, after decades of expansion and conquest, Xia Xiaochan has occupied hundreds of islands. The Wangxian sect has also absorbed hundreds of large and small forces, including countless nascent soul cultivators and 7 divine transformation masters, making its strength unprecedentedly strong. In the 270th year, Xia Xiaochan began to lead the Wangxian sect to counterattack the mainland, a move that was opposed by you. Because in your mind, you are still not sure about fighting against the protagonist. You know clearly that the protagonist often survives a disaster, turns misfortune into blessing, picks up magic weapons while walking, and has a lot of followers. If we attack rashly, our chances of success are slim. In the 280th year, Xia Xiaochan led the Wangxian sect back to Zhongzhou in a mighty force, despite your opposition. You look at the flying boat going away, feeling mixed emotions, and can only intensify your practice. You are well aware of how terrifying Lin Hao and Xiao Han are. You cannot kill them with one strike, and you don't want to be their enemy. But Xia Xiaochan is now more powerful than you, so once a decision is made, you can't refute her too much to save her face. After the Wangxian sect landed, it swept through the countless sects on the edge of Zhongzhou like a broken bamboo. The fame of the Wangxian sect quickly spread throughout Zhongzhou with each victory. In the 290th year, the Wangxian sect has occupied 1/3 of Zhongzhou. When the news reached your ears, instead of feeling happy, you became even more worried. Because you understand that Lin Hao or Xiao Han can't just sit there and do nothing. The reason why they didn't show up might be that they were practicing in seclusion, or they might be planning a bigger conspiracy. But they will show up anyway. It's just a matter of time. In the 300 years, the power of the Wangxian sect has further expanded, and has occupied half of Zhongzhou. Many Zhongzhou immortal cultivation sects began to join him in order to avoid being exterminated. The strength of the Wangxian sect has reached an unprecedented peak. Countless resources from overseas and Zhongzhou continuously flow into the Wangxian sect to support the disciples within the sect. The number of disciples in the sect has skyrocketed. Chapter 054 The Truth of the World. In the 305th year, you finally heard good news. Among your disciples, several have broken through to the nascent soul stage. This makes you feel a little relieved and feel that there are successors. But at the same time, you also feel more pressure. Because you feel that the way of the sword is becoming more and more difficult now. If you want to break through, you have to spend time and endure it slowly. In the 306th year, Xiao Han led the Xiao alliance to resist the invasion of the Wangxian sect. He and Xiao Xiaochan fought a shocking battle in the Tianduan Mountains. In the end, there was no clear winner. Ah! Lin Yi was stunned when he saw the text in the simulator. How so? Lin Yi muttered to himself, frowning. The development of the matter was completely beyond his expectations. It made it difficult for him to see the direction of the future. Xiao Han's appearance and the amazing strength he displayed all fit the template of the protagonist. Fighting above one's level and having good luck, these standard features of a protagonist are fully reflected in Xiao Han. In a short period of time, he cultivated to the stage of transformation of spirit. This is the speed of cultivation. It is hard to explain except for the good fortune. Look at Xiao Xiaochan. In the previous simulation, she was almost just a passerby. But now he can fight Xiao Han to a draw. This was really hard for him to understand. Could it be that Xiao Xiaochan is also the child of destiny? Or maybe there's something I've overlooked. Lin Yi was confused. Look at the simulator again. In the 310th year, the Wangxian sect was attacked by the Buladan Tian League. The Bushan alliance was formed by Lin Hao's union of several righteous sects, and its strength should not be underestimated. The two sides fought fiercely for several months, with both sides winning and losing, and finally they retreated to recuperate. In the 312th year, Xiao Xiaochan and Lin Hao finally had a head-on confrontation. The two men were equally powerful and fought for 3 days and 3 nights until the sky was dark and the sun and moon lost their light. In the end, the two sides still had no winner. However, at this moment, a strange vine suddenly appeared and hit Xiao Xiaochan, causing her to vomit blood. What was even more shocking was that the blood that Xiao Xiaochan spat out actually caused wisps of green smoke to come out of the vines, and the vines seemed to be poisoned. In the 320th year, Xiao Xiaochan finally recovered after years of recuperation. She was unwilling to accept her previous failure and launched another attack on the Buladan Tian League. However, this time the Bushan alliance chose to join forces with the Xiao alliance to resist. Faced with the attack from the two major forces, the Wangxian sect gradually lost and suffered heavy losses, and was forced to retreat. In the 390th year, the three forces formed a tripod, checking and balancing each other, and no one could completely eliminate the other. The Zhongzhou immortal cultivation world has entered a relatively peaceful period, but undercurrents are surging and crises are lurking everywhere. In the 450th year, Heavenly Sword Divine Lord, the Great Master of the Divine Realm with whom you have been practicing the way of the sword in seclusion, comes to you for a long chat. He tells you that the pinnacle of strength in this world is the spirit transformation stage. The lifespan of a cultivator in the spiritualization stage is at most 2000 years. Unless there is a particularly powerful treasure or elixir to prolong life. Otherwise, when the deadline comes, you will just perish. He also tells you an even more despairing news. No one has successfully ascended to heaven in this world for 100,000 years. After hearing this, you were startled and began to rethink your future path. You vaguely feel that there seems to be some kind of restriction in this world that hinders the ascension of monks. In front of the simulator, Lin Yi looked at the text without saying a word. The cold text of the simulator is like a shackle. Locked the hope of future ascension. The transformation of spirit is the peak. And in this world, no one has ascended to heaven for 100,000 years. Lin Yi's heart was in turmoil. The joy I once had has now turned into bitterness. In this case, the great elder of the ghost spirit sect should also be at this level. But why is there such a big gap between one incarnation of the god of incarnation and another? In addition, during the original simulation, there was an old immortal named Dan in Danta who had lived for 100,000 years. If he really is a god, then his lifespan would be unreasonable. For a moment, Lin Yi was overwhelmed with emotions. It's okay to say that I'm unhappy. Now I'm only one major realm away from becoming a god. But how can I start to be happy? No one has succeeded in ascending to heaven in this world for 100,000 years. Over the past 100,000 years, countless heroes have failed on their way to ascend to heaven. How could he, Lin Yi, break this shackles? The great elder of the ghost spirit sect died 30,000 years ago. Now he has reappeared in the world, and his strength is unfathomable. Even several divine transformation monks died at his hands. Such people cannot ascend. How difficult is the road to ascension? A feeling of powerlessness surged in his heart, and Lin Yi felt more confused than ever before. However, in the midst of despair, a glimmer of hope quietly ignited. In the last simulation, the scene when Xiao Han ascended to heaven appeared in Lin Yi's mind again. Bathed in thunder, leaving behind the alchemy furnace and the ascension pill. Did Xiao Han succeed in ascending? If Xiao Han succeeded, so, can I pass the simulation? Copy his path to ascension? And there is also the ascension pill. Even though he was just a wasted nascent soul stage at that time. Only the strength of the physical body remained, but he also felt the power of ascension. If I could get the ascension pill again, would I be able to make up for my shortcomings? Maybe you can break the shackles. Break through this obstacle to ascension? There was a flash of determination in Lin Yi's eyes. He had to give it a try no matter what. Even if there is little hope, he will never give up. Thinking of this, he gradually calmed down. In the 453rd year, the heavenly sword Divine Lord, whose deadline is approaching, proposed to try to bathe in the thunder tribulation and ascend to the upper realm. He asked you to observe and learn from the sidelines, hoping it would be helpful to you. You know in your heart that heavenly sword Divine Lord's move is likely to be disastrous. For 100,000 years, no one has ascended to heaven. This piece of heaven and earth is like a cage, trapping all the cultivators here. The heavenly sword god is about to die. Rather than sitting in meditation, he might as well fight to the death. Perhaps he can find a glimmer of hope. In the 454th year, the Lord of Heavenly Sword burned incense and bathed at the highest peak of Jinao Island, offering sacrifices to heaven and earth. In his hand he held a snow-white long sword, the sword body emitting a faint cold light, as if it contained endless sharpness. He took a deep breath and slowly closed his eyes, as if he was feeling the fluctuations of spiritual energy between heaven and earth. After a moment, Lord Heavenly Sword suddenly opened his eyes, a gleam of light flashing in his eyes. He let out a long roar, and pointed the sword in his hand straight at the sky. A dazzling sword light shot up into the sky, cutting through the air, and was about to split the world in half. The sword pierced the sky, dark clouds rolled, lightning flashed, and thunder roared. Thick bolts of lightning, like dancing silver snakes, descended from the sky and smashed down on the head of the heavenly sword god. The heavenly sword god swung the long sword in his hand, shattering the thunderbolts. Chapter 055 The Origin of the Ascension Pill. The sword light and thunder intertwined, making a deafening roar, and the entire Jinao island was shaking violently. Finally, a huge bolt of lightning fell from the sky and struck the heavenly sword god hard. His body was instantly devoured by the thunder, turned into ashes, and disappeared. Only a broken sword remained, emitting a breath of thunder. The heavenly sword master has failed. He proved to you with his death that this road does not work. You silently picked up the broken sword of the heavenly sword god and buried it in the back mountain of Jinao Island. For some time afterwards, you will sit by his grave and drink in memory of this good friend. In the 630th year, you broke through to the late nascent soul stage. You finally realized how difficult it is to practice swordsmanship. Although his combat power is unparalleled, it is still very difficult for him to break through, which is countless times more difficult than that for ordinary people. No wonder there are so few pure sword cultivators. In the 640th year, the 10,000 Immortals sect produced a great master who had reached the level of divine transformation, and there were many more nascent soul level masters. You understand that the rise of the Wangxian sect is unstoppable. In the 650th year, you sat cross-legged on an isolated island in the East China Sea, closed your eyes, and meditated, practicing the sword technique that had made no progress for a long time. Suddenly, a blazing fire ignited in the sky, illuminating half of the sky red, like a burning cloud, but more powerful and more frightening than a burning cloud. You open your eyes and look towards the sky, only to see a huge ball of flame appear out of nowhere, dyeing the entire sky red. A familiar figure stood in the flames, like a god descending from heaven, bathing in the divine fire. It was the former enemy Xiao Han. He was surrounded by countless thunderbolts, lightning and thunder, and the wind and clouds changed color. The power of thunder turned into a mighty hammer, hitting him again and again. You watched from afar, horrified in your heart. Could this kind of divine power be the calamity of ascension? A few months later, the thunder gradually subsided, the wind and clouds gradually dissipated, and the sky returned to its former calm. Xiao Han's figure also disappeared, as if he had never appeared. You suddenly decided to rush to the scene to find out what happened. Did Xiao Han succeed in ascending to heaven, or did he fall in the thunder tribulation? The answer to this question is crucial to you. In the 651st year, you finally arrived at the scene of the incident. The huge island that was originally lush and green and full of spiritual energy has been torn into pieces by thunder, and is almost sunk to the bottom of the sea. The sea was surging, the waves were surging, silently telling of the horrific thunder disaster of that day. You searched everywhere on the seabed and finally found a furnace. However, this alchemy furnace is not the alchemy furnace of the alchemy master, but is of a higher grade. The alchemy furnace exudes a faint golden light and is engraved with countless mysterious runes. It is actually an alchemy furnace of the highest grade magical weapon. And at the bottom of the furnace, you found a pill that was emitting a soft glow and a fragrant aroma. This pill is crystal clear, looks like a perfect gem, and exudes an intoxicating medicinal fragrance. It makes the true energy in your body become restless involuntarily. Just as you were carefully feeling the remaining thunder power on the alchemy furnace, trying to get a glimpse of the secrets from it, a familiar figure appears behind you. The person who came is none other than Dan Zun. He is now at the peak of the nascent soul stage. His aura is deeper and more restrained than before. His eyes are like lightning, staring closely at the alchemy furnace in your hand. He asked you to put down the alchemy furnace in your hand and hand over the ascension pill in the furnace. You turned a deaf ear to the words of the Dan Master. Although you are one small realm lower than him. Now, as a sword cultivator, you should move forward courageously and fearlessly. Your figure flashed, and the sword light cut through the sea like a streak of silk, heading straight for the Dan Zun. Venerable Dan obviously anticipated your move and did not dare to underestimate the enemy. He immediately summoned his own life-saving magic weapon to try to resist your attack. However, your sword is too fast, so fast that Dan Zun has no time to react. In just one round, your sword pierced through his protective aura, leaving a deep sword scar on his chest. Venerable Dan snorted, a trace of horror flashed in his eyes. You did not pursue the victory, but put away your sword and stood, staring at him coldly, and asked, "Did Xiao Han succeed in ascending?" Venerable Dan covered his chest, his face pale, a trace of confusion flashed in his eyes. "I don't know. I didn't see him ascend with my own eyes. What about this ascension pill?" You raised the alchemy furnace in your hand and asked sternly. Venerable Dan sighed helplessly and said, "This elixir is the elixir that our Danta has guarded for generations, and it has existed for 100,000 years. Later, it developed spiritual intelligence and became the guardian of Danta. We all called him Dan Lioxian. However, in order to help Xiao Han ascend, we forcibly dispersed Dan Lioxian's spiritual intelligence and refined it into this ascension pill. But he didn't take the pill in the end. Perhaps it was disdain, or perhaps it was because he had already successfully ascended. I don't know either." You were silent for a moment, your mind full of thoughts. Xiao Han's ascension, Dan Lioxian's sacrifice, all of this makes you feel extremely confused. You didn't kill Dan Zun in the end. Considering the relationship between you and your disciple, you abolished his cultivation. He was placed on Jinao Island and someone was arranged to take good care of him so that he could spend his old age in peace. In the 660th year, having lost Xiao Han's great power, Xiao Chan once again launched an attack on the Bulletin Tian League. Both sides won and lost. Lin Hao was immune to all poisons, and Xiao Chan was unable to kill him with poison. The war fell into a stalemate. In the 760th year, the Bulletin Tian League suddenly announced its seclusion and disappeared without a trace. After much investigation, you finally discovered that Lin Hao and the mysterious vine had lost their traces, as if they had evaporated in the world of immortal cultivation. You feel vaguely confused, and feel that this matter hides a bigger secret. In the 780th year, you traveled to a small fishing village on the coast of the East China Sea and unexpectedly met a little girl with ragged clothes and unkempt hair. She curled up in the corner of the dilapidated temple, shivering, her big black eyes filled with fear and helplessness. You felt sorry for her and gave her some food. The little girl ate voraciously, as if she hadn't had a full meal for a long time. You learned that her name was Yin Yin. You discovered that although she was only 8 years old, she had a natural sword body, an extremely rare physique, and she had a very high talent for swordsmanship. You feel emotional and meet her again, and you decide to try to teach her the way of the sword again. Chapter 056. This time I'm old and dead. However, no matter how you try, Yunyan cannot draw the qi into your body and embark on the path of cultivation. This confirms once again that there is definitely something strange about the other person's physique. In the 800th year, the long-dormant demonic power Ghost Spirit sect once again stirs up a bloody storm. The Ghost Spirit sect's great elder, a notorious demon, used some unknown secret method to come back to life, and his cultivation has become even more advanced. He led thousands of demon cultivators to launch a fierce attack on the various immortal sects. In a short period of time, Countless small and medium-sized immortal forces were destroyed, and even large sects were defeated, and the immortal path was in danger. You look at this familiar scene and can't help but sigh. This ghost spirit sect's great elder is really an indestructible cockroach. He is defeated every time, but he always appears again. In the 820th year, the demonic might of the ghost spirit sect reached its peak. Countless immortal disciples were slaughtered, wailing everywhere, and corpses were scattered all over the ground. The entire world of immortal cultivation is shrouded in a terrifying shadow. In the 865th year, the ghost spirit sect's grand elder finally extended his evil claws to the 10,000 immortals sect. Several elders of the Wangxian sect joined forces to fight him, but they were still no match for him. The sect protection formation was crumbling and was about to be breached. At this critical moment, Xiao Chan came out. With just one palm strike, she crushed the arrogant ghost spirit sect's great elder into dust. After this battle, the morale of the immortals was greatly boosted, while the morale of the demons was low. Under the leadership of Xiao Chan, the Wangxian sect joined forces with other immortal forces and, after several years of fierce fighting, they finally suppressed the demonic forces completely. Xiao Chan was therefore revered as the leader of the immortal way. But she still chooses to follow you, to be your follower, inseparable. In the 950th year, your cultivation stagnated at the peak of the late nascent soul stage and you were never able to break through. You sit quietly on the top of the mountain every day, comprehending the truth of heaven and earth, but you still cannot reach that bottleneck. You are anxious, but there is nothing you can do. Xiao Chan advises you to give up sword training and concentrate on practicing alchemy. Maybe you can extend your life for another 1,000 years. You were silent for a long time, but finally shook your head. Kendo is your lifelong pursuit, how can you give up so easily? In the 960th year, you suddenly had an idea and accepted a few disciples with good qualifications. You took them out to travel, hoping to find an opportunity for a breakthrough in the secular world. You have traveled to famous mountains and rivers, met all kinds of strange people and things, and experienced countless adventures and challenges. Under your guidance, your disciples have made rapid progress in their cultivation, but you remain where you are. In the 1008th year, you came to the starting point, meteorite market. Everything here has undergone earth-shaking changes. The once shabby market town has now become a prosperous fairy city. You stroll along the wide streets, recalling every little bit of the past, with a lot of emotions in your heart. Time flies, the years pass by like a shuttle. Your chi and blood begin to decline, and you become grey-haired and wrinkled. You feel like a lamp that is about to burn out and may go out at any time. In the 1009th year, you died of old age in front of Xiao Chan. In her last moments, you saw Xiao Chan covered in colorful rays of light, and a colorful crack appeared in the sky. You know, that's a sign of ascension. It's a pity that you can't see it anymore. Simulation ends. Start calculating this reward. In this simulation, you have raised your cultivation to the late sword infant realm. You can get one of the following rewards. 1. Sword infant late stage cultivation. 2. A top grade magical furnace. 3. This simulation experience. 4th, a pill of ascension. Number of simulations remaining, 0. After the simulation, Lin Yi was stunned for a long time. Why can't I make a breakthrough? Is it because sword practice is difficult, or is it because I'm advancing too fast, resulting in an unstable foundation and difficulty keeping up? He recalled that when he was advancing to the Jindan stage, he was unable to break through because his state of mind could not keep up. I guess it's a similar situation when practicing swordsmanship this time. Although they have lived for thousands of years, it has been nothing but fighting, struggling, and deceiving each other. But I didn't cultivate my state of mind. This is also the reason why he was stuck at the back for hundreds of years and eventually died of old age. However, the gains this time were very great, directly upgrading from the early stage of Sword Infant to the late stage of Sword Infant. Directly promoted 2 levels. You have to know that this is the nascent soul level. Many people are stuck in one realm for their entire lives. Besides, this world was becoming increasingly incomprehensible to him. Generally speaking, it is rare for a world to have only one destiny child. Whether it is Lin Hao or Xiao Han, both of them have the template of the protagonist. Lin Yi thought, if he didn't have a simulator, he probably wouldn't even be qualified to be the opponent. Xiao Han, the personal grandfather, has first-rate alchemy skills. Judging from several simulated situations, this is beyond doubt. Another thing is that the opponent advanced very quickly, and I defeated him when he was still a nascent soul. Unexpectedly, after several decades, he returned as a god. To deal with this kind of protagonist, the so-called son of the plane, he must be killed in one blow. That is to say, when one's own strength reaches a certain level, one must crush the opponent to death. Never give the other party a chance to turn things around. Once the opponent runs away, I will definitely turn the tables. When the other party comes again, their strength will definitely make people despair. Just like in this simulation, his Sword Immortal Alliance started by chasing Xiao Han and Dan Zun. Not only did he not chase and kill him, but the opponent's strength reached the nascent soul stage, and he went to fulfill the appointment after 30 years. Afterwards, he went there in person, but the other party ran away. In the end, he came back in a strong manner. But this makes sense. If the protagonist dies so easily, he is not the protagonist anymore. Although Lin Yi stands on the villain's side, he never considers himself a villain. If you really think of yourself as a villain, you probably won't survive more than one episode. Suppose he is now thinking from the perspective of a villain. That is definitely to kill Xiao Han or Lin Hao. Kill Xiao Han, there is a 100% chance that he will run away, and then come back strongly, and what awaits you is death. If he did that to Lin Hao, he would probably die on the spot. But this does not mean that Lin Yi will let the other party go. Through simulation, although he was improving his realm, he was also looking for the opponent's weaknesses. He firmly believes that everyone has weaknesses. Before this, Lin Yi had been looking for the opponent's weaknesses, but now thinking about it, he was indeed wrong. It is absolutely difficult to break through a person's weaknesses, because the other party knows those are his weak points and will pay special attention to them. On the contrary, the more advantages a person has, the more fatal his advantage is. But in the areas where he is most proud, has most advantages and is most outstanding, he may behave more conceitedly. As a result, he was careless and gave himself an opportunity. Dan Zun's reliance on Xiao Han definitely had a purpose. Xiao Han must have promised him something. Otherwise, there is no way that Venerable Dan would become a nanny. Let's talk about Lin Hao again. The other party's reliance is none other than Mansion. But why does Mansion protect him everywhere? Is it because he just thinks Lin Hao is cute? Except for the two parties signing a death contract, or there is some leverage, or there are interests involved. There is no way that the god of man could guard Lin Hao every day. Chapter 057 Simulator Upgrade. Next time simulation. Lin Yi decided to try to get rid of either Xiao Han or Lin Hao first. If you can kill it successfully, and no other accidents occurred, then he can take action immediately in reality. Completely solve these two problems. Lin Yi believes that the reason why the protagonist is the protagonist, it's because they have incredible luck. You can pick up treasures even when walking. If you know the location of these treasures in advance in the simulation, obtain them in advance. That would be like cutting off the fuel supply and destroying the other party's future. For example, if he gets the spiritual fire first, Xiao Han will not be able to get it. Without these key resources, it would become extremely difficult for the other party to rise. As one grows, the other shrinks. Wait until the time is right. If we kill him in one strike, we will be safe. Thinking of this, Lin Yi looked at the options for this simulation. Ascension Elixir and Elixir Furnace. Each one is a priceless treasure. Especially the Ascension Pill. Once it appears in the world, the whole world will probably go crazy for it. Especially the Ghost Spirit sect. If the great elder of the Ghost Spirit sect comes back. I heard about this miraculous elixir. I'm afraid they will come and snatch it at all costs. Although I don't know whether this pill can really allow people to ascend. But its value is definitely enough to make people jealous. Lin Yi stared at the pill and pondered for a long time. In the end, I chose to improve my own strength. There are no additional selections this time. So you can only choose strength. This ascension pill will be used in the next or the next simulation. It's not impossible to get it yourself. There is no need to give up your real strength for a pill that you are not sure whether it can help you. Ascend to heaven. Help me choose one, the late stage of Sword Infant. As his words fell, a powerful spiritual energy began to fill his body. The sword baby in the Danshan was originally only the size of a thumb. At this moment, it is expanding at a speed visible to the naked eye. Emitting dazzling light. The sword energy surged like a tide, constantly washing his meridians. It brings waves of tingling and distending pain. Lin Yi gritted his teeth. Trying hard to control this violent energy. Guide them into your body. Middle Sword Infant Stage, Late Sword Infant Stage. As his realm improved, Lin Yi felt that his strength had increased several times. He clenched his fists. Feel the surging power in your body. A smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Good. Then he started to recharge spirit stones. Start the next simulation. Ding! The first simulation time exceeds 1,000 years, and the novice protection mechanism will be removed. The simulator will take 3 days to upgrade, and the simulation content will be improved after the upgrade. Note: this upgrade requires 300,000 low-grade spirit stones. 300,000 spiritual stones. Good job! Lin Yi was stunned for a moment. I didn't expect that the simulator that was so easy to approach before was holding back a big move. 300,000 spirit stones in one go. 100 low-grade spirit stones equal 1 medium-grade spirit stone. 100 medium-grade spirit stones are equal to 1 high-grade spirit stone. There are also top-grade spirit stones, but they are very rare. If you use medium-grade spirit stones to pay, it would be about 3,000 pieces. After doing the math, Lin Yi's frown gradually relaxed. Although it is a bit difficult. But as an alchemist, it's actually not a problem to earn these 300,000 low-grade spirit stones. In that case, let's get started. Although he had been refining elixirs for countless years in the simulation. But in reality he had not refined many pills. He made a list and walked out of the cave where he was in seclusion. Avoided the Sahai Chamber of Commerce. After a while, we arrived at another store called Wanbao Pavilion. If we say that the Sahai Chamber of Commerce is spread all over the world of immortal cultivation, then Wanbao Pavilion is almost taking the high-end route. They have more rare treasures and occasionally hold auctions. You can find some rare medicinal materials here that are not common on the market. Lin Yi walked into Wanbao Pavilion, and a faint scent of sandalwood hit her nose. There is a wide variety of goods on the counter, ranging from spiritual weapons and magical treasures to elixirs and talismans. The sandalwood scent is curling in the air, filled with a faint spiritual mist. A wide variety of treasures are displayed in exquisite counters, exuding an alluring luster. Each piece is of great value and a feast for the eyes. As soon as Lin Yi stepped into Wanbao Pavilion, a sharp-eyed servant came up to him and asked with a smile. "Sir, what can I do for you? I can show you the way." Lin Yi handed the list of prepared materials to the servant and added, "Prepare according to the above. The older the spiritual medicine, the better." The servant took the list respectfully, looked at it carefully, and a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. These herbs were materials for refining high-level elixirs and were very valuable. He did not dare to neglect it and said quickly, "Please wait a moment, Senior. I will go and ask the shopkeeper for instructions." After saying that, he walked quickly towards the back hall. A moment later, a thin monk with a goatee hurried out. He looked Lin Yi up and down, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes, and then he bowed respectfully. "This. Senior, are you sure these are the materials above?" As he said that, he handed Lin Yi's list back. Lin Yi glanced at it and nodded to confirm, "Yes, that's it." Upon hearing this, the goat-bearded monk bowed again. "I am Wan Baoxing, the person in charge of Wanbao Pavilion in Bianfeng City. I am sorry for not welcoming you in person, Senior. May I ask, Senior, are you an alchemist?" Lin Yi nodded when he heard this. If he was at the third level of qi refining, he would still hide it for fear that others would know that he was an alchemist. Because the techniques of alchemy are unique, and the differences between inheritances are huge. What Lin Yi was afraid of was that others would see from his methods that he was a disciple of Dan Zun. He was afraid of death, especially afraid that the person who injured Dan Zun would come to him and kill him. But now he already knows that the other party is a spiritual master. It would be fine if the other party did not come, but if he came, wouldn't he be giving himself a head? Hearing Lin Yi admit his identity as an alchemist, Wan Baoxing became even more nervous. He narrowed his eyes, circulated his spiritual power, and tried to spy on Lin Yi's cultivation. But I found that it was like a drop in the ocean, with no response at all. The person in front of him either had a cultivation level far superior to his, or possessed some secret treasure that could conceal his aura. Either way, it was enough to make him cautious. Fine beads of sweat oozed out of his forehead and he wiped them gently with his sleeve. As a cultivator in the foundation establishment stage, he is also considered an expert. But with Lin Yi, he felt deeply depressed. It was as if he was facing a bottomless pool, which made him feel frightened. The only people who can make him feel depressed are those who are stronger than him. Anyone who is stronger than him is at least at the Jindan stage. He saw that Lin Yi was dressed like a young man and looked like a young man. With fair skin and delicate features, he doesn't look like an old monster at all. Although monks all have techniques to maintain their youthful looks. But eyes can't lie. Chapter 58 Wanbao Pavilion. Lin Yi's face and eyes look very young, with a hint of youthful vigor. Not like some old monsters, although they look young. But the vicissitudes in his eyes cannot be changed. They are the traces left over the years and cannot be erased. He had no choice but to be cautious when facing such a young Jindan ancestor, who was also an alchemist. He quickly arranged for Lin Yi to sit down. "Senior, your materials will be prepared for you shortly, but..." At this point, Wan Baoxing looked nervous, wanting to say something but not daring to. He kept rubbing the corners of his clothes with his fingers, his eyes flickering, as if hesitating about something. Lin Yi felt a little amused when he saw this scene. There was a time when he looked at others with such eyes, and he was very familiar with that kind of awe and uneasiness. But within just a few days, the situation changed and he became a master in the eyes of others. Judging from the other person's expression, he clearly wanted to ask for something, but he didn't dare to speak. Then he said calmly, "If you have something to say, just say it. I don't like being fussy or hesitant." Wan Baoxing wiped the sweat from his forehead and said respectfully, "This is the case, senior. I know that you are an alchemist, so I am very nervous. I wonder if you can sell some of the pills you refine to Wan Bao Pavilion." Hearing this, Lin Yi frowned, feeling very puzzled. Logically speaking, a large chamber of commerce like Wan Bao Pavilion should purchase elixirs directly from Dan Valley or Dan Tower. After all, those two places are holy places for alchemy and also where alchemists are most concentrated. I am just a casual cultivator, why would the other party target me? Thinking of this, he asked, when it comes to alchemy, Dan Valley and Dan Tower are the real holy places for alchemists. Why are you purchasing elixirs from me? Hearing this, Wan Baoxing smiled awkwardly and then began to tell the story. Senior, what you said is true. In fact, we have been purchasing elixirs from Dan Valley and Dan Tower before. But you also know that elixirs are consumables after all. Although we made some profit from the price difference, the long-term accumulation has also made many people dissatisfied. Therefore, many forces simply bypassed us and chose to purchase elixirs in Dan Valley and Dan Tower, thus avoiding our Wan Bao Pavilion from making a profit from the price difference. The two major alchemy holy places also acquiesced to this. After all, the price of elixirs sold directly to those sects and forces is indeed higher than that sold to us. As a result, my Wan Bao Pavilion gradually ran out of elixirs. Even if some independent cultivators didn't mind our price and wanted to buy, we still couldn't afford the elixirs. After hearing this, Lin Yi finally understood why he had been refining pills at the foot of the Ziyun sect's mountain and was able to join the Ziyun sect. Pills are consumables, and the quantity required is relatively large. Even if Ziyun sect purchased elixirs from Danta, it would still be a huge expense over time. That's why they made an exception and recruited independent alchemists to join them, so as to reduce the cost of elixirs. After thinking this through, Lin Yi remained calm on the surface, with drooped eyelids and a mature and steady look. In fact, he was already very happy in his heart, thinking, when I feel sleepy, someone sends me a pillow. When I was worrying about the sales of elixirs, Wan Bao Pavilion actually took the initiative to deliver them to my door. He is just short of spirit stones now. After all, 300,000 spirit stones is not a small number. Originally he was worried about the sales of the elixirs, but now that Wan Bao Pavilion has taken the initiative to purchase them, this has undoubtedly solved a major problem for him. Thinking of this, Lin Yi curled her lips in a reserved manner, glanced at Wan Baoxing's uneasy expression from the corner of her eye, and then spoke slowly. It's not impossible, but the price. Having said that, he paused deliberately, picked up the spiritual tea prepared by Wan Baoxing and took a sip, leaving Wan Baoxing ample room for imagination. He knew that Danta and Dang Gu both felt that Wan Bao Pavilion's price was too low. That's why we chose to cooperate directly with those sects. Therefore, if the price offered by Wan Bao Pavilion is too low, I will definitely not be willing to accept it. It would have been fine if I had been exploited and squeezed by my boss in my previous life, but I was still being exploited after traveling through time. It would be better not to travel through time. Wan Baoxing heaved a sigh of relief when he heard this. He quickly smiled and said, "Don't worry, senior. The price will definitely not be too low. We will charge you according to the price that Dan Valley sells to those sects." After that, he took out a jade slip from the storage bag, handed it to Lin Yi with both hands, and said respectfully, "This is the list of elixirs that our Wan Bao Pavilion purchased. Senior, you can take a look first." Lin Yi took the jade slip, probed his spiritual sense into it, and read it carefully. The list lists the names, grades, and corresponding purchase prices of various elixirs. He found that the price offered by Wan Bao Pavilion was indeed not low. Well, the price is fair. Lin Yi nodded with satisfaction and put the jade slip away. He caught a glimpse of Wan Baoxing's slightly nervous expression from the corner of his eye and felt secretly proud of himself. He knew why Wan Baoxing was so nervous. They refused to cooperate with Wan Bao Pavilion because they were worried that they would not be satisfied with the price. But Lin Yi deliberately dragged out his voice, paused, looked at Wan Baoxing, and asked in a puzzled manner, then, in this case, you won't make any profit from the price difference. After all, if you want the horse to run, you have to feed it grass. There is no benefit in the world without reason. Wan Bao Pavilion raises the prices, so how does it make money? Wan Baoxing smiled and explained without hiding anything, well, it's a bit complicated. Dan Valley and Dan Tower raised the price of elixirs and sold them to those sects. If we don't have elixirs, the independent cultivators will also have no source of elixirs. These sects started to sell elixirs in their own markets, and the prices were even higher than ours. Over time, this led to complaints from the independent cultivators. Therefore, the price we sell pills to is slightly lower than theirs, and the independent cultivators will definitely be willing to accept it. In addition, we also purchase spiritual medicine, so when we settle the accounts on both sides, we do make money, but we make less money. Lin Yi suddenly realized that Wan Bao Pavilion's plan was to make small profits but quick turnover. By attracting casual cultivators to buy elixirs at low prices, they also purchase spiritual medicines to make a profit from the difference. In this way, the needs of individual cultivators can be met while their own profits can be guaranteed. Which can be said to kill two birds with one stone. I have collected some more spiritual herbs. Do you guys still want some? At this moment, a clear female voice suddenly came from behind, with a hint of joy and expectation. Lin Yi looked in the direction of the voice and saw a young woman in a light green dress standing in front of the counter, holding a bulging cloth bag in her hand. The woman had a pretty face, curved eyebrows, and a faint smile on the corners of her mouth, revealing a pair of cute dimples. Upon hearing this, a servant dressed in Wan Bao Pavilion clothing hurried forward and greeted him warmly. Of course I accept it. As long as it's a spiritual medicine, our Wan Bao Pavilion will accept it. Chapter 059, Shopkeeper, why is this? That's great. The woman's voice was filled with joy. The prices offered by the Sahai Chamber of Commerce have been getting lower and lower recently. As she spoke, she gently placed the cloth bag in her hand on the counter and carefully opened it, revealing a bag full of elixirs. The servant checked it carefully and said with a smile, "Your spiritual herbs are of good quality. Our shopkeeper said that for every 10 spiritual herbs you sell to us, you will get an extra spiritual stone as a reward. I see you have sold several times, so this time you should have enough for 10 plants. Tell me your name and I'll check the records." When Lin Yi heard this, he secretly admired in his heart that Wan Bao Pavilion really knew how to do business. This model, similar to the point collection and redemption model in the milk tea shops of the previous life, can not only attract casual cultivators to sell elixirs, but also cultivate customer loyalty, killing two birds with one stone. He smiled and said to Wan Baoxing, "Manager Wan really has a good idea. This way, we will definitely be able to attract many independent cultivators to sell spiritual medicine to you." Wan Baoxing smiled bitterly and said, "Thank you for your praise, Senior Lin. I have no choice but to do this because of the pressure from the Sahai Chamber of Commerce. They are wealthy and powerful, and they directly issue tasks, forcing independent cultivators to collect spiritual herbs for them, and they also charge high protection fees. We small business owners can only find new ways to survive in the cracks." After listening to Wan Baoxing's explanation, Lin Yi just smiled faintly and didn't care too much. He had seen too many of these business tricks in his previous life, many of which were far more complicated and sophisticated than this. It's just that now I am devoted to the Tao and don't want to waste time on these trivial matters. He took a sip of the spiritual tea and casually glanced at the exhibits in the shop, indifferent to everything around him. Xiao Chan, right? You sold us a total of 13 spiritual herbs, all of which are of good quality. So you can get an extra spirit stone, and the extra 3 plants can be settled together when you have 10 plants next time. The servant's voice broke the silence in the shop. Hearing the name Xiao Chan, Lin Yi's hand holding the spiritual tea trembled violently, and a few drops of hot tea spilled on his hand. But he seemed unaware. Xiao Chan. One of the reasons why he came to Bianfeng City was to find this person. In previous simulations, Xiao Chan showed amazing potential. If it can be cultivated, it may become a great help to him. However, in the most recent simulation, Xiaoxiaocan's strength increased dramatically in the final stage. He was even able to fight Xiao Han and Lin Hao to a draw. This made Lin Yi realize that this woman was not simple at all. His original plan was to observe secretly and look for an opportunity to get close to Xiao Chan. But now, he was a little hesitant. It was not because he was worried that Xiao Chan would affect his Taoism or cause any conflict with him. After all, the situation in the simulation is out of control. In reality, he is devoted to Taoism and has no interest in these love affairs. What's more, the future is uncertain, so love between young people can only be put aside. What he was really worried about was that Xiaoxiaocan's strength would eventually be beyond his control. This was contrary to his original idea. Lin Yi calmly placed the teacup on the table, but her eyes involuntarily turned to Xiao Chan in front of the counter. Although during the simulation, he and the other party were considered acquaintances. But the simulation is presented in the form of text, and text cannot describe the other person's true appearance. It was just a rough description and was just briefly mentioned. So this was the first time he met the other person, Xiao Chan herself. He wanted to see what special abilities the other party had that allowed him to repeatedly destroy his moral integrity in the simulation. Xiao Chan was seen wearing a light green dress. She had a pretty face, curved eyebrows, a faint smile on the corners of her mouth, revealing a pair of cute dimples. She looked innocent and harmless. It looks very ordinary and can only give people a fresh and natural feeling, but it does not have the kind of charm that makes people fall in love at first sight or cannot help but be addicted to it. Who would have thought that such a seemingly ordinary woman would have such powerful strength in the future? At this point, Lin Yi decided to take it one step at a time. Anyway, try not to get involved with the other party for now and decide based on the circumstances. Wan Baoxing, who was sitting opposite him, was observing his expressions. Seeing Lin Yi suddenly become distracted, he was stunned for a moment, then looked at Xiao Chan at the counter in the distance. Judging from his many years of experience in dealing with people, the expert in front of him definitely knows the girl not far away. But for some reason, he didn't come forward to say hello. Could it be that there is some misunderstanding between the two parties? Or maybe... Wan Baoxing's mind raced as he tried to guess what Lin Yi was thinking. He knew very well that a master like Lin Yi was moody, and if he intervened rashly, it might backfire. After thinking it over again and again, he decided to test it quietly. He coughed lightly, stood up, and walked to the counter, and spoke to the waiter in a casual tone. "This girl's spiritual medicine is of top quality. I think you might as well give her another 10 spiritual stones as a token of our appreciation." The servant was stunned when he heard this and looked at Wan Baoxing with some confusion. Why is the shopkeeper, who is usually very careful with his money, suddenly so generous today? He hesitated for a moment, but still did it. He took out 10 spirit stones from the storage bag and handed them to Xiao Chan. Xiao Chan was also bewildered. After taking the spirit stone, she timidly asked, "Boss, why is this?" Wan Baoxing laughed, waved his hand and said, "It's nothing. I just want to express my appreciation for your hard work in collecting herbs. You don't have to mind it." After that, he observed Lin Yi's reaction calmly. Lin Yi still looked calm and didn't seem to notice the situation here. Wan Baoxing frowned, wondering if he was worrying too much. Lin Yi naturally understood Wan Baoxing's intention, which was to please him in disguise. He sneered in his heart, thinking that this old guy was probably overthinking. However, he did not point it out and just sipped the spiritual tea quietly. After a while, Wan Baoxing sent Xiao Chan away. He rubbed his hands, smiled, held an exquisite storage bag, and walked up to Lin Yi. "Senior, the materials you requested are all ready. Please take a look." He carefully opened the storage bag and took out one of the wooden boxes, revealing the neatly stacked elixirs inside, which exuded a faint fragrance. Lin Yi took the list and glanced at it, nodding secretly in his heart. The quality of these elixirs is top-notch, and the price is reasonable, much cheaper than that of the Sahai Chamber of Commerce. It seems that Wan Baoxing did not ask for an exorbitant price. "Senior, do you want me to send someone to deliver it for you?" Wan Baoxing asked tentatively, with a barely perceptible shrewdness in his eyes. Lin Yi naturally understood his intention, he just wanted to know where he lived. He hesitated for a moment, then nodded and said, "Okay." Chapter 060 That person is a big shot. After paying the spirit stones, Lin Yi followed the servant out of the Wanbao pavilion. As soon as I reached the door, I saw a familiar figure, Xiao Chan. She stood quietly not far away, her eyes falling on Lin Yi from time to time. Lin Yi frowned slightly and passed by Xiao Chan calmly. Xiao Chan looked at Lin Yi's receding back, her brows slightly furrowed, as if she was thinking about something. But Lin Yi had no idea what the other party was thinking. It is better not to contact the other party until the situation is clarified. Lin Yi strolled along the bustling street. There were shops everywhere on both sides, hawking sounds were heard one after another, and the air was filled with the aroma of various elixirs and pills. He glanced at the various magical instruments and talismans displayed on the street stalls. Now, he naturally looks down on the stuff on the street. After a while, Lin Yi arrived at the cave. The servant followed all the way, put the storage bag of spiritual medicine in Lin Yi's hand, and said, "Respectfully, Senior, the things have been delivered, I will take my leave first." Lin Yi nodded and threw him a spirit stone as a reward. The servant immediately smiled happily and left with many thanks. Lin Yi turned and walked into the cave. There was a simple ban at the entrance to block some uninvited guests. The space inside the cave is not large, but it is arranged in an orderly manner. A stone bed and a futon were all his belongings. He opened his storage bag, took out the herbs that exuded rich spiritual energy one by one, sorted them carefully, and placed them in the order for refining the pills. Although there are alchemy rooms for rent in the market, those alchemy rooms not only have prohibitions and formations on the outside, but the inside of the rooms are also connected to the underground fire for the convenience of alchemists. But Lin Yi has the spiritual fire. The power of spiritual fire is far greater than that of earth fire. It can not only greatly shorten the time of alchemy, but also increase the success rate of alchemy and produce higher quality pills. So naturally there is no need to go to the alchemy room in the market. Lin Yi was seen sitting cross-legged with his hands in a seal. A wisp of light golden flame slowly rose from his fingertips and gradually grew stronger. Eventually, it turned into a ball of burning spiritual fire, suspended below the alchemy furnace. He carefully put each spiritual medicine into the alchemy furnace. The spiritual fire was surging, medicinal fragrance was overflowing, and the whole cave was filled with the refreshing elixir fragrance. On the other side, Xiao Xiaochan looked at Lin Yi's receding back, feeling even more confused. She hesitated for a moment, and finally stopped the servant who had just sent Lin Yi away. "Excuse me, young man, why did your shopkeeper give me spiritual stones just now?" Xiao Zioken's voice was soft but with a hint of uneasiness. As a casual cultivator, Xiao Xiaochan has always been very cautious. She also often collects spiritual herbs and has some knowledge of their prices. But this time, the price that Wanbao Pavilion gave her far exceeded the value of the elixir itself, which made her very nervous, and she always felt that there was something fishy. The servant was puzzled after hearing this. He frowned and spoke after a moment. "How would I know? Our shopkeeper is usually very stingy. He would like to break a spiritual stone into two halves to spend." Hearing this, Xiao Xiaochan nodded slightly, her long black hair swaying slightly with her movement. She naturally knew that the shopkeeper was stingy. "The last time I came to trade, it was for a few spirit stones." She had been talking to the shopkeeper for quite some time, but Wanbao Pavilion had not been so enthusiastic in giving her more spirit stones. Thinking of this, she rolled her eyes and asked indirectly, "Who was that person you just sent out?" "Your shopkeeper seemed very respectful." Hearing this, the servant was startled and his face turned pale. Then he looked around in fear. After making sure that no one was paying attention, he carefully leaned close to Xiao Zioken's ear and said in a low voice, "The person just now was a big shot. According to our shopkeeper, his strength seemed to be at least at the Jindan stage." "Ah!" Xiao Xiaochan covered her mouth and screamed in surprise. She didn't expect that he would be a cultivator in the Jindan stage. She originally thought that the other party was just a chi refining cultivator with a cultivation level similar to hers. After all, he didn't look very old. She didn't expect that she was wrong. The servant raised his chin proudly and said mysteriously, "That's not all. He just bought a lot of high-level spiritual medicines. I heard from the shopkeeper that he seems to be an alchemist." Hearing this, Xiao Xiaochan was completely stunned. Although the appearance of a Jindan stage cultivator in Baiyun Market was shocking, Baiyun Market itself had a Jindan stage ancestor in charge, so it was not too surprising. However, adding the identity of an alchemist, and being an alchemist who can refine high-level elixirs, is very rare. Not to mention it's rare, it's almost non-existent. After chatting with the servant, Xiao Xiaochan was still worried, because she couldn't understand why Wanbao Pavilion suddenly gave her more spirit stones. This is just like an ordinary person walking on the street and someone suddenly comes up to him and stuffs money into his pocket without saying a word. Even if the other party was very casual, this matter was too abnormal and she couldn't help but think about it. Is it because? As for Lin Yi, after 2 days, he had refined all the materials. The lid of the alchemy furnace slowly opened, and a rich elixir fragrance instantly spread, filling the entire cave. Lin Yi took a deep breath and felt refreshed and comfortable all over. This is one of the benefits of using spiritual fire to refine pills. Not only is the success rate high, but the quality of the pills is also good. Moreover, during the refining process, it can absorb some of the medicinal power and nourish itself. This is also thanks to the spiritual fire. Greatly increased the success rate and efficiency of alchemy. If the elixir is refined using earth fire, it usually takes 21 days to refine. If it is a more advanced elixir, it will take 49 days. The temperature of the underground fire is not only difficult to control, but also much lower than that of the spiritual fire. If you are not careful during the refining process, the furnace will explode, resulting in all previous efforts being wasted. But spiritual fire is different. Once this thing is refined, it can be controlled with ease, just like an organ in your body or an extension of your thinking. With just an idea, he could control the temperature very well, and refining the pill would naturally be very fast. Lin Yi looked at the crystal clear pill in his hand, which exuded an attractive luster, and his heart was filled with a sense of accomplishment. These pills were carefully refined by him, and each one contained powerful medicinal power. He carefully put the elixir into a jade bottle and sealed it with a special spirit sealing talisman to prevent the loss of medicinal power. After doing all this, Lin Yi got up and left the cave, and went to Wanbao Pavilion again. At this time, the Wanbao Pavilion was bustling with people coming and going. When the servant saw Lin Yi coming, he quickly called Wanbaoxing out. As soon as Wanbaoxing saw Lin Yi, he immediately came up to her with a big smile on his face and greeted her warmly. "Senior, do you need any other elixir?" Lin Yi shook his head, with a hint of smile on his lips. "Not this time I'm here to sell pills." Sell pills." Upon hearing this, Wanbaoxing was stunned where he was, his eyes wide open, as if he had heard something incredible. He had just sold the elixir to Lin Yi the day before yesterday. According to common sense, it would take at least a month for an alchemist to refine the elixir. Some high-level elixirs require at least 2 months. But how long has it been since Lin Yi? 2 days. Can the elixir be refined in 2 days? How is this possible?